deadly mobile game. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 301. No one is easy to provoke. Mengdai. Jin called out to the empty hall. There was no response. Jin went to the right room and looked around, but he didn't find Zhang Mengdai. He went to the left room and looked around, but he still didn't find Zhang Mengdai. So he went down to the basement. He finally found Zhang Mengdai. She was standing by a wall, facing the wall, muttering something, but it was unclear. Mengdai, are you online? Jin walked over and asked Zhang Mengdai. Zhang Mengdai didn't respond. After she went offline, did her character run to the basement by itself? Jin was a little surprised. After thinking about it, he moved closer to see why Zhang Mengdai was standing here and going offline. Just as Jin approached, Zhang Mengdai's head suddenly turned 180 degrees and turned back. Jin was caught off guard and shocked when he saw her extremely haggard face with wrinkles full of resentment. He subconsciously took a few steps back. The last time he saw her was on the phone screen. This time, he saw the scene with his own eyes, and the psychological stimulation caused to Jin was incomparable. Zhang Mengdai turned around and suddenly turned into a ball of black mist, dispersing in all directions. Mengdai, what's going on? Jin felt that something was wrong. He tried to call out the view menu to exit the game cabin and see if Zhang Mengdai in the real world had any accidents. However, the view menu could not be summoned. Jin hurriedly tried to summon the virtual mobile phone screen with his mind, and then contacted Zhang Mengdai on QQ, but it also failed. Can't exit the game? Can't contact the players in the real world? Jin was shocked. Something must have gone wrong. Jin left the basement and returned to the ground. He went to the room on the right and lay on the teleportation platform. There was no response. He couldn't go back to the Moss Mountain base. Jin searched around the room and the basement carefully again, but didn't find any clues for the time being. He came to the open door and looked outside carefully. There was no sign of the giant rhino outside, but the footprints it had made during the day were still there. Jin walked out of the gate and came to the yard outside. He found that the sky was no longer cloudy, and a bright moon shone down, illuminating the yard. Is this on Earth? Why is there a moon? Jin was a little confused. What is the connection between the game world and the real world? What is the connection between the nightmare castle where Zhang Mengdai was born and the main game world? Could it be a multi-layered world? The real world is a world, the game world is a world, and this nightmare castle is a separate world? While thinking about these more profound questions, Jin walked towards the weapon shop and other shops. All the shops were closed. The whole yard was dead silent. At a certain moment, Jin suddenly glanced at the gate of the yard from the corner of his eye, and it seemed that a white shadow floated by. Who? Jin ran out of the yard and finally saw the white shadow. It was the woman in white dress he had seen before. She was walking towards the depression where the giant rhino was. Hey, who are you? What do you want to do? Jin chased after her. When he got close, he found that the woman had no feet under her white skirt. An inexplicable chill came over Jin. He felt that something was wrong and subconsciously stopped. Unexpectedly, the woman in the white skirt floating in front of him also stopped. Jin felt something was not good. If he turned around and ran away at this time, he suspected that the woman in the white skirt would most likely turn around and chase her. It was too risky to leave his back to this thing that was neither human nor ghost. However, Jin was unarmed and had no equipment on his body. Even if he did not run away, he felt that he would most likely not be the opponent of the woman in the white skirt if he confronted her head-on. None of the monsters in the nightmare castle were easy to mess with. What should I do? After the woman in the white skirt stopped for half a minute, she continued to float forward. It seemed that her target location should be the depression where the rhino was. It might even be the nest of the giant rhino. Could it be that the giant rhino is her pet? Should he continue to follow her? Jin hesitated. All this was too weird. If he followed her, he might discover some secrets of this nightmare castle. However, curiosity killed the cat. If he was led into a trap by her, without Zhang Mengdai by his side, he would have no power to resist. After the woman in white floated forward for a distance, She stopped again, as if she was waiting for Jin Ke. Jin Ke hesitated for a long time, and finally decided to continue to follow her to see where she wanted to lead him. Of course, he only followed her not far away, and if he found any danger, he still had to evacuate in time. The woman in white continued to float forward, followed the stone steps to the depression below, and then continued to float forward in the grass. It was obvious that she was going to float in the direction of the cave. Jin Ke followed the woman in white skirt not far away, and at the same time was very careful to watch out for the fierce rhinoceros that might rush out of the bushes at any time. However, until the woman in white skirt floated into the cave, Jin Ke followed into the cave, but he did not encounter a fierce rhinoceros. After entering the cave, the woman in white skirt actually had a lantern in her hand, which illuminated the circle around her and also helped Jin Ke to illuminate the front of his vision. It seemed that she was indeed leading him here. All this was too weird. But since he had followed here, Jin Ke decided to continue to follow and see where the woman in white skirt wanted to go, or where she wanted to take him. I don't know if the giant fierce rhinoceros has returned to its nest. With the huge size of the giant fierce rhinoceros, it would not be very convenient to dodge and move once it collided in the cave. Soon, the woman in white skirt floated to the end of the deep cave, where the giant fierce rhinoceros slept. The giant fierce rhinoceros was not here, and no one knew where it went. Jin Ke breathed a sigh of relief temporarily and approached cautiously. The woman in the white dress stopped in front of a cave wall. Jin Ke did not move closer, but just looked at her from a distance. Suddenly, the woman in the white dress floated straight into the cave wall in front of her, and then disappeared. What's going on? Did she go in? Jin Ke hesitated for a moment, then walked over quickly. Looking carefully at the cave wall in front of him, Jin Ke did not find anything unusual. He put his ear on it and listened carefully, but no sound came out. Could it be? There is another cave behind this cave wall, just like the cave in the mountain at the Moss Mountain base. Chapter 302 Rune Beads. She must want to take me somewhere. A trap, or a treasure? The plugin in the depression could not be activated, and Jin Ke could not detect what was behind the cave wall. If he wanted to know, he could only risk using the skill Death Charge to pass through the wall. If there was no space inside, Death Charge could not be used, so Jin Ke did not have to worry. If there was a space inside, after passing through the wall and entering that space, Jin Ke would have to wait for more than a minute until Death Charge cooled down before he could come out. What if there was a trap inside? More than a minute was enough time for him to be doomed. Should he go over and take a look? Everything that happened tonight was too weird, and he didn't know what was going on. After hesitating for a long time, Jin Ke decided to go in and take a look. He deeply suspected that he had been trapped in the trap set by the woman in white. Otherwise, why did the teleportation device fail? The field of view menu failed, the virtual phone and the plug-in all failed. All this was not normal. If the woman in white dress really wanted to harm him, she should have done it long ago. After all, Jin Ke was unarmed now. She led him here, most likely because she wanted him to help with some task. Perhaps, after completing the task, he could get a valuable reward. At least, after completing the task, he could escape from this weird situation, right? Otherwise, he couldn't return to the King Moss Mountain base or the real world. Wouldn't he be trapped here forever? Gritting his teeth, Jin Ke activated the Death Assault skill. The next moment, Jin Ke found that he appeared in a tomb, because, in the center of this room made of stone, there was a coffin. The woman in white dress disappeared. The woman in white dress's lantern was now hanging on the wall of the tomb. The lantern seemed to contain some kind of luminous energy stone, which illuminated everything in the tomb. There seemed to be no valuable clues in other parts of the tomb. It seemed that if he wanted to find clues, he needed to open this coffin. In the coffin, would there be any mechanism? Just as Jin Ke approached carefully and was about to open the coffin lid to take a look, he was in a trance. Suddenly, there was a noise behind him. Jin Ke looked back and found that another person had also teleported in. It was the woman in the white skirt. She rushed in a tumbling posture, holding a black bow and arrow in her hand. After tumbling in here, her expression was a little dazed, as if she had entered here by accident. Jin Ke soon discovered that something was wrong. That is, this woman in the white skirt had feet. Who are you? Jin Ke asked the woman in the white skirt. The woman in the white skirt ignored him, but patrolled the tomb, and then walked carefully to the coffin in the center of the tomb. "Can't you hear me?" Jin Ke asked again with some doubts. He found that after he spoke, the woman in the white skirt did not respond to his voice at all, and did not even look at him. This is not normal. Jin Ke walked to the woman in the white skirt and waved in front of her. The woman in white skirt still ignored Jin Ke, completely treating him as air. She walked to the coffin in the center of the tomb, opened the buckles around it, carefully opened the coffin lid, and then looked inside. Jin Ke also hurriedly looked inside. At this moment, a large mass of thick black fog suddenly rose from the coffin, and in the air it turned into a shape similar to a demon. Holding a fork in hand, it suddenly stabbed the woman in white skirt. The woman in white skirt was unable to react, and her body was directly pierced by the fork. She staggered back a few steps, blood foam gushing out of her mouth, and she sat backwards against the wall with a look of fear on her face. The demon transformed from the black fog retreated into the coffin, and the lid of the coffin was closed again. Jin Ke seemed to understand a little bit. Everything he saw now was actually some kind of illusion, similar to the world in the memory fragment. This woman in white skirt has feet, and this scene should be what really happened before. The woman in white skirt who led him here has no feet, which may be the obsession of the woman in white skirt. After Jin Ke saw the seriously injured woman in white sitting against the wall, she stretched out her hand to protect her wounds and tried to save herself, but it was all in vain. When she was dying, she transformed the black bow and arrow in her hand, as well as the whole set of black leather armor under her white dress, into runes and put them into a black bead in her hand. Then, she muttered something and seemed to cast a spell on the bead. After doing all this, she leaned against the wall and didn't move. Jin Ke's mind was in a trance again for a moment, and the next moment, he found that there was another corpse by the wall of the tomb, a dried corpse in a white dress. In her palm, she was holding a black bead. "Although it is a bit disrespectful to take the dead's things, since you led me here, you must want to give me something, right?" Jin Ke walked over and squatted down, carefully reaching out and taking the black bead out of the dry corpse's palm. Sealed rune bead. The previous owner of the rune bead has an unfulfilled wish. If you are willing to help her fulfill her wish, she will help you unseal the rune bead and let you get the treasure inside. Are you willing to help her fulfill her wish? Several prompts popped up in Jin Ke's vision. "I am willing." Jin Ke agreed of course. At this moment, Jin Ke's mind was in a trance again. The next moment, he found that he did not enter a tomb with a coffin, but was in Zhang Mengdai's birthplace. The plug-in was still controlling his body to attack the giant rhino outside the door. The giant rhino's health had dropped by more than half. Zhang Mengdai was still lying on the sofa next to him. Everything just now, was it a dream? Jin Ke took advantage of the gap when the character was controlled by the plug-in to throw fireballs at the giant rhino, but he saw a white shadow behind the giant rhino floating towards the courtyard door. When he wanted to see more clearly, the giant rhino rushed over and blocked his view of the door. "I don't have a sealed rune bead in my hand, which means I haven't accepted the task yet." That white shadow should be the obsession of the woman in white dress. She hopes to find a suitable person to fulfill her unfulfilled wish, so she took advantage of the fact that I was controlled by the plug-in and accidentally fell asleep, and invaded my dream when my soul was weak, leading me to accept the task of the rune bead. It seems that after killing this giant ferocious rhino, I have to take a trip to the tomb. The Nightmare Castle. It really does give you nightmares. Chapter 303 Promotional Activities. I don't know what treasures are in the coffin in the tomb. Since the woman in white dress can come to the Nightmare Castle, she has black weapons and a full set of black leather armor. I think she is not an ordinary person, but she was killed instantly by the demon that came out of the coffin, so I'd better not think about the coffin. After killing this giant fierce rhino, I will take the beads first, complete the task of the beads, and get the treasure of the woman in white dress first. There are too many secrets in this Nightmare Castle. It will take a long time to conquer this Nightmare Castle. Don't be impatient, take your time. Jin Ke didn't dare to suspend the plug-in, worried that suspending the plug-in, exiting the game cabin, etc., would make the giant fierce rhino lose its hatred target and run away from here to its nest. What if its nest has a healing effect on it and restores its blood volume to full value? He won't be able to cry. Morning, 7 o'clock. Master, are you still there? Haven't you rested? Zhang Mengdai's voice. Ah. Jin Ke woke up from his sleep and saw Zhang Mengdai on the sofa next to him had stood up and stood beside him to help throw fireballs. The giant fierce rhino is still there. Its health is less than a quarter left. With Zhang Mengdai's help, it will be much faster to kill it. After Zhang Mengdai pulled the hatred, Jin Ke went to the room on the left to find some food for the character to eat and drink some water. There is not much food and water in the room on the left. If you want more, you have to find a way yourself. There are various kitchen utensils in the room. You can cook your own food, such as python meat, fierce rhino meat and so on. If you can't eat those things, you have to spend money to buy them from the food store. Around 9 o'clock, the giant fierce rhino's 5 million health points were finally drained, and it fell to the ground with a bang. Jin Ke was overjoyed and rushed up and began to dissect the giant fierce rhino with a kitchen knife found in the room on the right. Dissecting a giant rhino requires LV5 dissection skills. After dissecting a multi-headed python, Jin Ke's dissection skills just evolved to LV5. However, the kitchen knife he found could not withstand such high-level dissection. It broke completely not long after the dissection began. After thinking about it, Jin Ke took the rhino horn he had obtained earlier as a dissection tool. The rhino horn is sharper than the rhino horn in the real world. Although it is not very easy to use, it allows the dissection of the giant rhino to continue. After more than half an hour of hard work, Jin Ke finally dissected the entire giant rhino. This time he harvested an energy core, but the storage capacity is only 10,086. 10,086 energy points? Compared with 5 million health points, it is really too far away, right? By the way, what is your relationship with Blackheart Mobile? Why are you advertising it so hard? Jin couldn't help but complain. In addition, a fragment of a circular sculpture was found in the stomach of the giant rhino, which was about a quarter of the size. Why did you eat this? Since you ate it, why didn't you eat the whole thing? What does it mean to eat only a quarter? Did you eat a quarter of the brain of the game designer? Jin continued to complain. At least there was a clue. The missing circular sculpture on the gate of the Nightmare Castle was on these small bosses. In addition to the energy core and a quarter of the circular sculpture, the giant fierce rhino also dissected 2 or 3 tons of fierce rhino meat and a pile of messy bones. Fortunately, the battle was in the yard. Otherwise Jin Ke would be exhausted to death carrying all this meat. 2 or 3 tons of fierce rhino meat was only exchanged for 5 silver coins. Jin Ke hesitated for a while and put the energy core on the round table of the food store, wondering if the owner would accept it. The owner really responded and put 1 gold coin and 86 copper coins on the other end of the round table. Black, really black. Jin Ke immediately took back the energy core and walked to several other stores, ready to win by the highest bidder. Unexpectedly, all the shop owners seemed to have agreed on the price. 1 gold coin plus 86 copper coins, not a single copper coin more. Shopkeeper, few people come to your shop to buy things all year round. Can't you show some sincerity? Have a promotion or something? Jin continued to complain. The shopkeeper kept silent and didn't even talk about the price. Jin didn't sell the thing for the time being. Instead, he returned to the room where he was born, took the energy core and established a circuit with the energy in his body, and then got on the teleportation platform. If it works, he can bring the energy core from the Moss Mountain base here and exchange it for gold coins to buy things here. You know, he won 160,000 energy points in the last tour. As a result, Jin teleported back, but the energy core didn't go over. Jin was not convinced, so he took an energy core from his bedroom in dormitory number 18 and asked Zhang Mengdai to teleport him to the Nightmare Castle. As a result, Jin teleported here, but the energy core didn't come over. The method of establishing an energy circuit did not work. It seemed that the world where this Nightmare Castle was located could not transmit anything except people and underwear used to avoid harmony. I really don't know if it is meaningful to work so hard to earn gold coins to buy black clothes in the castle. If I buy it but can't take it away, I will be really angry. However, I can't give up without trying. After finishing the matter of the giant fierce rhino, Jin of course went to the cave of the giant fierce rhino, went through the wall into the tomb that the white skirt woman took him to at night, got her rune beads, took the corresponding tasks, completed the unsealing of the rune beads, and got the weapons and other treasures in the rune beads of the white skirt woman. Although Jin Ke didn't need the black bow and arrow and the rune beads of the white skirt woman now, he could equip a whole set of black leather armor. The armor of the assassin and the archer professions have always been interwearable, just like the armor of the tank and the warrior system can be interwearable. The other treasures in the rune beads of the white-dressed woman might be able to collect 1 or 2 gold coins, helping him quickly save up 10 gold coins to exchange for a black dagger. After making a plan, Jin Ke and Zhang Mengdai went out. The world in the Nightmare Castle seems to have day and night, and it is synchronized with the real world and the game world. Jin Ke is still unclear about the reason, and he has no energy and ability to figure it out. So, don't worry about it for now. There is no sun in the Nightmare Castle during the day, and it is not very bright. The sky is overcast, and it looks like it will rain at any time. Moreover, the rain is divided into regions. Some places rain, and some places don't rain. But now it is not raining everywhere. After the two left the yard, they walked straight to the depression, thanks to Mo Kingfeng for the reward of 50,000 starting coins. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 304, Horror City Mud. Although it was daytime, after going down to the depression, there were still many black spots in the field of vision, and they were more obvious than at night. These black spots can interfere with the plug-in, which seems to be a bad sign. If there are more such black spot areas in the game in the future, Jin Ke will have to rely entirely on himself. Fortunately, Jin Ke did not use plugins when he could do without them before, and his actual combat ability is still very strong. Along the way, he actually encountered another fierce rhino, an ordinary fierce rhino. Jin Ke suspected that it was the one that chased him last night. Zhang Mengdai's fighting skills are becoming more and more proficient. It can be seen that she is also a crazy operator. She doesn't need Jin Ke's instructions. Her movements are very accurate. Lightning and fireballs are also released just right. After a while, there is another ordinary fierce rhino corpse on the ground. Jin Ke has no time to sell meat now, so he went directly into the cave with Zhang Mengdai. At the end of the cave, Jin Ke stood on the mountain wall where the woman in white disappeared last night, which is also the periphery of the tomb. After his death charge last night, he appeared 2 meters away from the wall of the tomb, which means that the thickness of the wall is about 5 meters. Without a suitable weapon in hand, there is no way to dig through the mountain wall. Zhang Mengdai has no displacement skills, so he can only let her stay here, and Jin Ke went in alone. It still feels a bit risky. What if it is a trap? If it were another game, Jin Ke would definitely teleport there without hesitation at this time, and would not think about it at all. But this game is different. Every time I face strange events and unknown dangers, I always think about a lot of things inexplicably. In fact, what I think about the most is not my own life, but Xue'er. I want to give her a better life and want to watch her grow up happily. So I have a lot of worries about myself. I worry about who will protect her after I am gone. Fortunately, there is Liu Zioxi now, who is very dedicated to Xue'er, so he has no worries when he fights in the game world. Jin Ke said a few words to Zhang Mengdai, and after hesitating for a few seconds, he death charged through the wall and entered the tomb. The tomb was exactly the same as what Jin Ke saw in his dream last night. The woman in the white dress who had turned into a mummy fell against the wall, with a black rune bead in her hand. After Jin Ke got the rune bead, he couldn't open it. Instead, a task interface popped up in his vision. Sealed rune bead. The previous owner of the rune bead has an unfulfilled wish. If you are willing to help her fulfill her wish, she will help you unseal the rune bead and let you get the treasure inside. Are you willing to help her fulfill her wish? I am willing. Jin Ke agreed of course. After confirming that he accepted the task, several black crystals fell out of the rune bead. Jin Ke recognized these things. They were memory fragments. It seems that in order to know the wish of the previous owner of the rune bead, He must first read her memory. After returning to the room where Zhang Mingdai was born, Jin came to the charging device and sat down. This is the safest place. Like the spring, life and energy are instantly replenished, which is equivalent to adding an immortal buff. Jin took out several memory fragments and randomly selected one of them to use. After a moment of trance, Jin found himself in a strange place. It seemed to be a university classroom. Not a classroom, but a place similar to a laboratory. A girl in her 20s sat in front of a computer with a pile of data forms next to her. She kept typing on the keyboard in front of her to sort out the data in the forms. She was using the DOS system. The 1990s? Although Jin Ke was born 2,000 years later, he still knew that the DOS system was a popular operating system in the early 1990s. Since the girl was using the DOS system, it meant that the era of her memory fragment was the early 1990s. In this case, she had been dead in the tomb for more than 20 years. Jin Ke drifted to the front of the girl's computer screen, wanting to see what she was doing. The series of DOS commands dazzled Jin Ke. Born in the new century, he really knew nothing about these things. Just when the girl was busy, a blue and white dialogue window suddenly popped up on her computer. Jingjai Studio is recruiting mud operators with a daily salary of 12 yuan. Are you interested? The girl looked at the blue and white pop-up window in the computer and was shocked. She looked around. Now she was the only one in the laboratory. If you pass the assessment, the daily salary can be paid in advance. Another sentence popped up in the dialogue pop-up window. What assessment? The girl asked in the dialogue pop-up window after opening the Wu by input method. For people in the early 1990s, whose monthly salary was generally only a few dozen to 1 or 200 yuan, a daily salary of 12 yuan was about the same as the current daily salary of 1,200 yuan. Obviously, a daily salary of 12 yuan, and prepaid, moved the girl in front of the computer. Judging from her somewhat shabby clothes, this girl should be very short of money on weekdays. A mud test program has been downloaded to your computer. You need to make the right choice and time. We will evaluate you based on your choice. The dialog pop-up window told the girl the path of the file and the name of the executable file. The girl's 10 slender fingers quickly tapped the keyboard, typing in various command symbols, entering the path where the file is located, entering the name of the executable file, and then opened the mud test program. There was a virtual story inside, and after a narration, she was asked to make a choice. The girl quickly browsed the story and made various choices. There was even a maze setting in the story, which only provided the corresponding text description and then asked the girl to make a choice. The girl was obviously very intelligent and thought very quickly. Before Jin could understand many words, she had already made a choice. Half an hour later, the girl received an SSS level assessment. A very familiar scene. I didn't expect that Jingjai Studio would participate in the operation of the Horror City game so early. Jin sighed. Your mud operation ability has reached the highest requirements of our studio. Congratulations on passing the assessment of Jingjai Studio. If you agree to join Jingjai Studio, we will advance your daily salary tomorrow. Because of your outstanding performance, the base salary is temporarily set at 20 yuan. Advance daily salary? Advance now. The girl was skeptical. 20 yuan is her living expenses for most of the month. Yes, tomorrow's daily salary has been deposited into your passbook account. The other party replied, my passbook account? How do you know my account number? The girl was surprised. Chapter 305. Are you there? You can go to the bank now to check if the money has been credited. The other party obviously did not want to answer the girl's question. Then how can I contact you when I come back later? The girl's passbook was on her body. She stood up and prepared to turn off the computer to check the account, but she subconsciously typed another paragraph to ask the other party. Don't worry, we will contact you. After the other party replied, the blue and white dialog box on the computer screen disappeared automatically. After turning off the computer, the girl walked out of the laboratory room and came to the corridor outside. After a long corridor, there were stairs downstairs. After going downstairs, the girl went straight to the savings bank at the school gate. There were more than 10 people in the savings bank. The girl stood in the queue with her passbook and waited silently. Her family conditions were still very good before high school. Her father was in transportation and her mother was a warehouse manager in a company. She never lacked pocket money, but since her father had a car accident and was rescued in the hospital for more than 10 days and was paralyzed in bed, the whole family collapsed. Now her family can only give her 30-50 yuan a month for living expenses. She spends 20 cents for breakfast, 30 cents for lunch, and 30 cents for dinner. If there is no other expenses, she can save 10-20 yuan a month for her family. If she can really get a 20 yuan daily salary, her and her family's poor life will be greatly improved. There is even money for her father to do some rehabilitation treatment. The girl obviously does not believe that there will be such a good thing that falls from the sky. She thinks it is more likely to be a prank. But even so, 20 yuan, her living expenses for most of the month, is still worth checking. It is definitely not true, but what if it is? 10 minutes later, the girl finally came to the counter. She opened the passbook and looked at the balance of 13 yuan, and then handed the passbook to the staff inside. "My family has sent money. Can you help me check the balance?" the girl said to the inside. When she said this, her voice was trembling because of excitement. Jin Ke floated beside her and saw the name on her passbook, Xue'er. It is a double surname rarely seen in daily life. The staff quickly wrote a line of numbers on the passbook with a fountain pen, stamped it, and handed it back. Xue'er quickly picked up the passbook and saw that the balance on it had become 33 yuan. "It's true?" Xue'er was surprised and almost dropped the passbook in excitement. After she put away the passbook, she hurried back to the school's laboratory building, climbed up to the floor where the laboratory was located, and entered the laboratory. After looking around to make sure that no one was there, Xue'er turned on the computer and watched impatiently as lines of characters jumped on the black screen. After a series of beeps, there was an electronic sound of the 486 hosts starting up. To people of that era, these sounds sounded very high-end and mysterious. Although the machine was very old, the DOS system was still much faster than the Windows system. In the early 1990s, people were still used to calling computers computers. For those who were used to using the DOS system at that time, they hated the slow startup and various computer freezes of Windows. The system resources were not much, and the operating system took up most of them. There were not enough resources for games and programs to run. In that era, computers were simply sky-high prices. A 486 cost about 10,000 yuan. Upgrading computer hardware was no different from replacing a new machine. The launch of Windows, which occupied a large amount of resources, and was mandatory, made all computer hardware manufacturers earn a lot of money. Of course, this is also an inevitable trend of technological progress. Compared with the obscure DOS system, the foolproof operation of Windows can make computers more popular. "Are you here?" Xue'er didn't know how to contact the studio, so she could only ask the other party in English in the DOS command line. "Have you received the advance daily salary?" A blue and white dialog box appeared on the computer screen. Jin Ke now knew that there was probably a wretched man hiding behind another computer, observing Xue'er's expression while typing quickly in the dialog box. "Got it. If you are willing to join the studio, you can receive an advance payment for the next day's daily salary at midnight every night." "Okay. What do you need me to do?" "Operate a text game. We have an office near your school. If you are interested, you can go and have a look. There will be a special machine for you. Of course, food and accommodation are also provided." "I still have to go to school. I'm afraid it's not convenient to go there." Xue'er hesitated. "It doesn't matter. You can go there to investigate first. If you think it's suitable, go there. If you think it's not suitable, you can also operate it on your school's computer. But if the school knows about this, it will be very bad for you. Let me try this mud first." Xue'er proposed to the other party. "Okay." After the other party responded, a new blue and white dialog box popped up on Xue'er's computer. "Horror City, the most terrifying mud in history. Welcome to your arrival. Please register an account and fill in the relevant information carefully." After some operations, Xue'er logged into the mud. "You are now in the room. The furniture in the room includes a bed, a table, and a chair. You can go to the bed to sleep, or you can look for your daily necessities in the table drawer. Of course, You can also go to the door of the room, open the door, and go outside to take a look. The game started, accompanied by various text descriptions, and a game world gradually appeared in front of Wenren. Every choice and every operation she made determined the fate of her character in the game. Wenren in front of the computer quickly immersed herself in the game world. For that era of extreme lack of entertainment, this kind of text descriptive game has a fatal attraction to young people around 20 years old. Based on these simple texts, they can imagine all kinds of wonderful pictures, which bring them spiritual pleasure, which is no less than those ultra-clear large-scale 3D games with a resolution of 4K. The content of the first memory fragment ends here. Jin Ke didn't know what Wenren's wish was, nor did he know what the mission asked him to do. Now he could only pick up the second memory fragment and continue to study it. After a moment of trance, Jin Ke entered the world of the second memory fragment. Chapter 306, Luo Ye. This time, she appeared in a family's house. Wenren appeared a few years younger than the one in the last memory fragment. Her eyes were red, and she looked like she had encountered something sad. Two middle-aged women were sitting on the sofa in the house. One of them was crying, and the other looked impatient. Her aunt, Fian's father, had a car accident and is now in the hospital for treatment. It costs several hundred yuan a day. I'm not forcing you to pay back the money. Now you need money to save your life. The one who spoke was obviously Wenren's mother. The time in this memory fragment was obviously earlier, around the end of the 1980s. A few hundred yuan at that time was equivalent to tens of thousands of yuan now. I have said many times that I have no money. What can I do if I have no money? You can't sell me, right? And even if you sell me, I won't get much money. Wenren's aunt rejected Wenren's mother impatiently. Aunt, when you asked my family to borrow money to repair your brother's old house, you were so nice. You said that we should help each other as a family, and you would help us if we had any difficulties. My mother took out all the more than 2,000 yuan in the family and gave it to you without saying a word. You said you would pay it back half a year ago, but you haven't paid it back yet. My father is not doing anything else. He is anxious to get money to save his life. Now I just want you to pay it back. What's your attitude? You can't be so shameless, right? Wenren couldn't help but say a few words. You, a young man, speak very badly. What do you mean by shameless? We are a family, and these things can be discussed and negotiated. You said so badly, so don't blame me for breaking up. No money means no money. No matter how much you say, it's useless. Wenren's aunt took advantage of the topic. Her aunt, don't be like this. Fian is young, ignorant, and can't speak. Don't be weird to her. Wenren's mother quickly apologized to her aunt. Ignorant? A junior dares to say this to me, totally ignoring me as an elder. What kind of quality? You are really enough. Since you don't treat me as a family, why should I treat you as a family? Stop coming to me every day. Since you're such people, I think this relative doesn't need to be around anymore. Wenren's aunt was very angry. Yanner, apologize to your aunt. Wenren's mother said to Wenren, Mom, she is not a human, she is a beast. Don't you understand? Are you stupid? Why did you lend her money in the first place? Why didn't you let her write an IOU? You might as well buy some meat to feed the stray dogs on the roadside. Even stray dogs know how to be grateful. What is she? Wenren cried and argued with her mother. Yanner, don't talk like that. Little bitch, you scold me? Do you believe I will tear your mouth apart? The content of the second memory fragment ends here. Those who borrow money are all masters. It was like this in the 1980s. There is really no way to deal with such a deadbeat. Wenren's wish should be to take revenge on this evil aunt. It would be better to read all the memory fragments first before drawing a conclusion. After a trance, Jin Ke entered the world of the third memory fragment. It was still the room where the second memory fragment was. Her aunt, you know, last time in order to save her father, everything that could be sold at home was sold, and we still owed others thousands of yuan. Fian was finally admitted to university, and now she can't even raise enough money for the trip. Can you be kind? Pay back the more than 2,000 yuan owed to us, and we won't charge the interest. Wenren's mother begged her aunt. I said I have no money. What can I use to pay you back if I have no money? Wenrenfian's aunt half closed her eyes and looked very irritable. Unlike last time, this time there was a teenager next to her aunt, a teenager of 14 or 15 years old, who was drinking a bottle of pink drink with a straw. This boy is her aunt's son, Wenrenfian's cousin. When you rescued her father last time, you also said you had no money, but only 2 months have passed and you have brought back a new refrigerator, a new color TV, and a new cabinet. You must have spent at least 1 or 2,000 yuan, right? Wenrenfian's mother whispered to her aunt. My brother got it from me through his connections, and I didn't buy it with my own money. Her aunt looked very confident. When you asked my family to borrow money, you said you were helping your brother repair the old house. This money is equivalent to giving it to your brother. Since your brother can spend money to buy you so many things, he should have a lot of spare money in his hands, right? He can at least pay back the more than 2,000 yuan in our family, right? Wenrenfian's mother continued to talk to her aunt. You are talking nonsense, right? My brother is my brother, and I am me, no matter how rich he is. What does it have to do with me? Could it be that he killed someone and wants me to pay for his life? You are just making a fuss. Her aunt became more and more impatient. How about this? Her aunt, Fian, is in urgent need of several hundred yuan for travel and living expenses for college. Let's not talk about the more than 2,000 yuan for now. For the sake of our relationship, please lend us 300 yuan to help us get through this difficult time. I'll write you an IOU. And when I get the money, I'll definitely pay you back as soon as possible. What do you think? Wenrenfian's mother continued to discuss with her aunt. Oh, now you know we are relatives? What did she scold me at the beginning? She called me a beast, a wild dog. My head still hurts when I think of those words. Don't say I don't have money now. Even if I have money, I would feed it to the dogs instead of lending it to you. What a disgusting family. Her aunt looked contemptuous. Wenrenfian may have been told by her mother. This time she stood by and didn't say a word. The expression on her face was the kind of indifference after extreme anger and despair. Don't be like this. The kid is so outspoken. Don't hold it against me. Go borrow money from someone else. How can I lend you money if I don't have any? Last time, she borrowed all she could when her dad had a car accident. Otherwise she wouldn't have come to you for help. Right? No money. Go. It's so annoying. Her aunt stood up and chased her away. You are such a heartless beast. Bitch. You are worse than pigs and dogs. People like you don't deserve to live in this world. Wenrenfian couldn't stand it anymore, and finally started to curse. What do you mean by scolding my mom? You come here to borrow money and you think you are right? You are so shameless. The boy next to her aunt suddenly rushed over and punched and kicked Wenrenfian. After kicking Wenrenfian in the stomach and knocking her to the ground, he kicked her hard on the head and smashed the beverage bottle in his hand on Wenrenfian's back. Chapter 307, 10,000 yuan household. Don't hit her. After Wenrenfian's mother reacted, she quickly protected Wenrenfian, but she was kicked several times by the boy. The mother and daughter cried out together. The content of the third memory fragment ends here. Jin Ke has not yet obtained Wenrenfian's exact wish. However, for some reason, he really wants to torture and kill her. This evil end. Torture and killing are not satisfying. Torture her first, and then make her pick manure for the rest of her life. How can someone in the world be so shameless? Take another memory fragment and take a look. This is a very small memory fragment. The world in this memory fragment is obviously a few years later. Wenrenfian looks much older. At this time, she is obviously in the game world. This memory fragment shows Wenrenfian's first-person perspective. The attribute menu in the corner of her vision is open, and the level has reached DD level. After a long adventure, you found the nightmare maze. Do you want to enter the adventure? Great. I heard that in the nightmare maze you can find a way to rebuild your body and return to the real world. I want to rebuild my body and return to the real world to avenge my parents. Wenrenfian's face became extremely cold. You chose to enter, but you need to reach at least S level to enter this maze. You don't meet the conditions, so you can't enter. Please keep trying. The content of the fourth memory fragment ends here. Nightmare maze. I don't know what the connection is with the nightmare castle. Could it be the nightmare castle? When Renfian entered the nightmare castle in this way, is she dead in the real world? Did her soul penetrate into the character in the game world? Her parents are also dead? What is going on? Who killed her family? If we find the enemy, we can help her avenge and fulfill her wish, right? Take another memory fragment and take a look. After a trance, Jin Ke entered the world of the fourth memory fragment. This time, it was in a very small house. There were 2 beds and a table in the small house, and then nothing else. There were 3 people in the small house. Wen Renfian, her mother, and a paralyzed man in bed. This time, Wen Renfian looked about the same age as when she first came into contact with the horror city mud, but her mental state seemed to be much better, and her body was no longer so thin and frail. But Wen Renfian's mother was much thinner and older than in the memory fragments of the last dead collection. There was a bandage on her arm, and she must have been injured. Dad, Mom, I found a job. Wen Renfian spoke. Yanzi, why are you looking for a job? Go to school. Wen Renfian's mother couldn't help but get a little anxious when she heard Wen Renfian say this. Dad, Mom, you have a hard life. I don't want to go to school anymore. I want to make money and give you a good life. Wen Renfian shook her head. You kid, why are you so disobedient? Just study hard when I tell you to. Are you trying to force us to death? Wen Renfian's mother looked very angry. Mom, I don't want you to do those physical jobs that only men can do at the construction site every day. I dare not spend the money you earn with your blood and life. The job I'm looking for now pays a lot, 600 yuan a month, but you have to be a full-time employee. If you lose this job opportunity, you won't have it again. I've decided. From today on, I don't want you to go to the construction site. I will support this family. Wen Renfian shouted back to her mother. Yanzi, are you doing something illegal? Or Wen Renfian's mother looked very worried. In this era when wages are generally tens or hundreds of yuan, a monthly salary of 600 yuan falls on a female college student like her daughter who has not graduated. No matter how you think about it, it is unbelievable. In addition to illegal transactions, it is just that she has fallen out of love. Even fallen women can't earn that much, right? It's scary to think about it. No, it's real. Look at my passbook. Wen Renfian handed the passbook to her mother. There was already more than 1,000 yuan on it. Yanzi, you are not doing anything illegal, are you? Wen Renfian's mother became more worried after seeing the balance in the passbook. I am not doing anything illegal. It's a legitimate job. I am in the IT industry, a senior computer operator. There are thousands of applicants, but only a few people are recruited. They are selected after layers of assessment. Wen Renfian lied to her parents. She really couldn't explain her job clearly. In fact, until now she didn't quite believe that all this was true, but she had been doing it for 3 months. Every night at midnight, the next day's daily salary would be in her account on time, so she had to believe that all this was true. In fact, she had not stayed in school for a long time. She had been working in a villa arranged by the studio. Because the home address and contact information she left at the school were wrong, the school had no way to notify her parents. Yanzi, there are many scammers now. Anyway, Wen Renfian's mother still felt that this matter was outrageous and didn't seem to be true. What is the purpose of cheating? Is it to cheat money? How can you cheat money by giving others thousands of yuan first? Wen Renfian immediately refuted her mother. Swallow's mother, don't stop her anymore. Our Yanzi has made progress. I knew our daughter was not simple since she was a child. Wen Renfian's father, who was paralyzed in bed, spoke up and stopped her mother from continuing. Alas, if it is true, then our hard days are really over. Although Wen Renfian's mother was still very worried, she couldn't say anything more after hearing what the father and daughter said. Dad, Mom, actually, what I want to tell you is that I was promoted to director this month, and my salary increased to more than 1,000 yuan a month. The leaders above said that if I work hard, plus bonuses and commissions, I may be able to earn 2,000 or 3,000 yuan a month. Wen Renfian continued. What? Wen Renfian's parents were shocked. 2,000 or 3,000 yuan a month. In less than half a year, she became a millionaire. In this era, Millionaires are very enviable. The interest rate of the bank is very high. If you deposit money in the bank, the interest alone is enough to support the family. I will get higher and higher positions in the future, and I will earn more and more money. When I have money, I will definitely find a way to punish that beast who borrowed money and didn't pay it back. Dad's legs could have been cured, but they made Dad paralyzed in bed. I will never forget the humiliation they brought to us. I will make them pay back 100 times and 1,000 times for everything they did to me. When Renfian clenched her fists. Chapter 308 Fire. Swallow, don't do such a stupid thing. Now that you have money, don't care about the more than 2,000 yuan she borrowed. After all, she is your uncle's wife and your father's sister-in-law. No matter how they treat us, we can't treat them like this. When Renfian's mother was anxious when she heard this. Mom, you are too kind and too cowardly. Uncle, my father's brother. When their family has problems, my father is always the first to rush over. When my father got into trouble and waited for money to save his life, what did they do? Not only did they not lend us money to help us, they didn't even pay back the money they borrowed from us. Are they relatives? Are they still human? More than 2,000 yuan. I don't care now, but I can't swallow this breath. I can't swallow it. When Renfian said these words, she clenched her fists and her whole body was shaking. Swallow. What's the smell? When Renfian's mother suddenly felt that something was wrong. Jin Ke, who was watching the memory fragments, also found that something was wrong. He quickly floated out of the window and found that there was a fire in the corridor below. The flames quickly spread into the house below Renfian's house. In just a moment, the fire was burning. Renfian quickly closed the window, but a lot of black smoke still entered the house. The three people coughed non-stop. Renfian's mother rushed over and opened the door, but more smoke immediately poured in from outside the door. She quickly closed the door again. Something exploded in the room downstairs, and a flame appeared outside the window. Renfian had no choice but to quickly open the door, then carried her paralyzed father from the bed, and with the other hand pulled her mother into the corridor outside, which had become hot and full of black smoke. There was an open fire downstairs, and there was no way to get down. Renfian could only carry her father upstairs, and her mother pushed her father's butt with her injured hand from behind. Yanzi, cough, leave us alone. Cough, go by yourself. Renfian's father yelled at Renfian, no, Mom and Dad raised me up so big, I almost lost my dad last time, I absolutely can't lose you again this time. Renfian yelled and ran upstairs. She didn't know how she had so much strength, carrying her father who weighed more than 100 kilograms, and actually ran to the roof in one breath. After Renfian panted and put her father in a safe area on the roof, she found that her mother didn't follow. Mom. Renfian was shocked and rushed into the stairs full of black smoke. The stairs were full of burnt smells, and the temperature was getting higher and higher. Renfian felt the skin on her body was burning. After rushing down a few floors, Renfian found her mother lying on the stairs. Her clothes were on fire. She quickly dragged her mother away from the fire, crying and shouting to beat the flames on her body, and then carried her to the roof desperately. Lair. Her strength gradually ran out, and her expression became extremely dazed. Her whole body and her lungs were aching like fire. The hard days have finally come to an end. Dad, Mom, I can't lose you. Renfian gritted her teeth and crawled up step by step, until she reached the last step on her knees. Her two knees were covered in blood, and she finally climbed to the top of the building and put her mother on the platform. Then, she fell down too. The content of the fifth memory fragment ends here. After the fifth memory fragment ended, Jin Ke did not continue, but sat in the charging device in a daze. Master, what's wrong with you? Zhang Mengdai had been guarding Jin Ke, and suddenly found that Jin Ke's expression on the mobile phone screen was a little wrong. Jin Ke hugged his head with both hands and avoided the field of vision of Zhang Mengdai's character. He felt the same as the content of Renfian's fifth memory fragment and her mood at that time. He had been trying to seal away the extremely tragic scene 5 years ago in his memory, but he didn't expect that it would be triggered by this memory fragment of Renfian. The past was unbearable to look back on, and he dared not look back. A few minutes later, Jin calmed down again, and then he opened the sixth memory fragment and continued to look for clues in it. A place similar to the King Moss Mountain base. Am I dead? Wasn't I killed by that beast? How could I be here? This beast. She killed my parents and killed me. Dad, Mom, Dad, Mom. Wenren put her hands into her long hair and screamed miserably. I want to go back. I want revenge. I want to kill this beast. Bitch. I want to kill their whole family. I want to kill. Kill. Kill kill kill. Wenren screamed and roared like crazy, kneeling on the ground, and her head kept hitting the ground. The pain and anger reached the extreme. This seems to be the game world described in the text. Has it become real now? Am I in the game? I heard someone say in the game before that there is a nightmare maze where you can find a way to rebuild your body and return to the real world. I always thought this was funny. Aren't we people in the real world? Why do we need to rebuild our bodies and return to the real world? It turns out that after death, you will be trapped in the game world. If you want to go back, you have to find the nightmare maze. I must find the nightmare maze. I want to go back to the real world and torture that bitch in various ways. Avenge my parents. Wenren calmed down and muttered to herself for a few words. Her expression became extremely determined. The sixth memory fragment ended. What happened to her and her parents? Who is the bitch she mentioned? Her aunt? How did her aunt kill her whole family? Jin Ke was even more curious. The last memory fragment. Hospital. Wenren was lying in the hospital, with severe burns on her face and body, and all kinds of tubes inserted all over her body, and she was receiving intravenous and oxygen. The person sitting next to her turned out to be her aunt. After a while, 3 people walked in from outside. For this matter, I suggest that both of you try to go through civil mediation first and ask them to compensate you an amount that you think is reasonable. No matter what you think, you can talk about it first. A court staff member spoke first. My brother and sister-in-law were burned to death, and my niece became a vegetable. Forget about civil mediation. I must make them go to jail. Wenren's aunt looked very excited and squeezed out a few tears. After Wenren's family suffered the misfortune of fire, her only relatives were her uncle and aunt. Therefore, the fire compensation also fell on them. It's really ironic. Chapter 309. No forgiveness. No, everything can be discussed. An old couple looked at her aunt with a pleading look. They burned paper money in the corridor to worship their ancestors, and a fire broke out, killing 2 people and turning your niece into a vegetable. They did violate the criminal law. Normally, they should go to jail, but if they go to jail, they may not be able to pay the money. Anyway, if you go to jail, you don't have to pay the money. And if you pay the money, you don't go to jail. You should think about it again. After all, your niece's later treatment will not be a small amount of money. The staff advised her aunt. 3 lives. No, 2 lives. And a vegetable. Can this be solved with money? My 3 most important relatives have been harmed by them like this. Don't you feel guilty for mediating like this? Her aunt slapped her thigh and cried. Last time I said I would pay 20,000 yuan. But you disagreed and insisted on 50,000 yuan. How about this? We can borrow another 10,000 yuan from a loan shark, so we can pay 30,000 yuan in total, and write an IOU for 20,000 yuan. We will definitely find a way to pay it back within 2 years. It's all our fault that they've hurt their family like this. Please. The old couple took out 3 stacks of money from their pockets, knelt on the ground together, and begged her aunt. Can money buy the lives of relatives? Also, if she lies down like this, I need to take care of her every day. I don't go to work now. How can 50,000 yuan be enough to take care of her here? What if you can't pay the IOU? Who will pay for her medical expenses when the time comes? Her aunt said in an unyielding tone. Please, we will definitely find a way to pay it back. The old couple knelt on the ground and cried in pain, refusing to get up. Okay. Okay, I am a kind person, and I cannot bear to see others feel pity. Since you are all like this, I can only make one more concession. My brother, my sister-in-law, my niece. You died so miserably. Her aunt took the 3 stacks of money and checked them one by one, then wiped her face and howled again. After the mediation, the court staff took the old couple out of the ward. After the 3 of them left the ward, her aunt immediately stopped howling, took out the 3 stacks of money that she had just put away, and counted them one by one again with a smile on her face. After a while, a man walked in. The man looked very similar to Wenrenfian's father, and he seemed to be her uncle. "Did it work?" her uncle asked. "Yes, it's done." "It's so cool, 30,000, and I owe you for 20,000. Her aunt looked very proud. "Alas, my brother and sister-in-law did not die in vain. By the way, what about her?" Her uncle pointed at Wenrenfian on the bed. "Of course, just like her parents, she told the hospital to give up treatment, and then secretly pinched the oxygen tube, and that was it." Her aunt looked at Wenrenfian on the bed. "No way, you pinched their oxygen tubes?" Her uncle looked at her aunt in surprise. "Of course, they are so seriously injured. Are you going to let them suffer? The sooner they die, the sooner they will be reincarnated. Otherwise, how will you pay for the hospitalization every day?" Her aunt rolled her eyes at her uncle. "Alas," her uncle sighed. Her aunt reached out and pinched Wenrenfian's oxygen tube. Wenrenfian on the bed widened her eyes, and tears overflowed from the corners of her eyes. They should be tears of extreme anger and despair. "Don't." Her uncle looked at Wenrenfian on the bed with a reluctant expression. "The money has been compensated. Are you really going to spend all this money on her? Are you sick?" Her aunt scolded her uncle a few words. Her uncle didn't say a word. Wenrenfian's body twitched a few times, and her mouth opened. Her aunt signaled her uncle to go to the door to look out, and then took a pillow from the bed next door and pressed it on Wenrenfian's face. The last memory fragment ended. Jin Ke was also extremely angry at this time. He had never thought that a person could be so bad and shameless. It was simply outrageous. He remembered a news he had seen recently. A beggar in his 50s was beaten to death by several young men and women. The murderer paid hundreds of thousands of yuan in compensation and obtained the forgiveness of the deceased's family. As a result, he was given a light sentence in the court and was sentenced to only a few years for murder. When this old beggar was alive, his family let him beg outside, and no one cared about his life or death. Now that he is dead, he immediately jumped out and received hundreds of thousands of compensation. Why should we mediate if someone kills someone and pays for his life? Why should we forgive him? What qualifications do family members like them have to forgive the murderer, the dead soul? No forgiveness. Now Jin Ke almost understands what Wenrenfian wants him to do. After their family got into trouble, why did her aunt decide to give up treatment for their life? Why did her aunt accept compensation? What was the result? All of their family members died at the hands of this evil woman. The coldest, cruelest, and most terrifying thing in the world is always the human heart. The contents of several memory fragments made Jin Ke tremble with anger. Unfortunately, although he is now doing well on the King Moss Mountain base, he can kill anyone who is not fair. But in the real world, he is just an ordinary person with a monthly salary of tens of thousands. At best, he is stronger and more robust than ordinary people. It is probably difficult to hold them accountable for the old things that happened more than 20 years ago, just by making her aunt's ugly deeds public. All he can do is recruit them and let them carry manure. I wonder if this counts as completing the task. Task prompt: please go to the Depression Tomb to accept the task commission from Wenrenfian. A prompt suddenly popped up in the field of vision in front of Jin Ke. It seems that the task is not to let him kill for her. There should be something else that he can do for her. As long as he is not asked to kill in the real world, everything can be discussed. Jin Ke took Zhang Mengdai back to the giant rhino's nest and asked Zhang Mengdai to guard outside. He teleported into the tomb again. The tomb was still the same. There was a coffin in the middle, and the dried corpse of Wenrenfian was lying by the wall. Task prompt: Wenrenfian is only left with a remnant soul formed by obsession, which is very weak. You can only communicate with the current Wenrenfian when you are asleep. The prompt popped up again in the field of vision in front of Jin Ke. Jin Ke hesitated. Staying in such a gloomy tomb, communicating with a wronged soul who has been dead for a long time, and communicating in a deep sleep, is quite difficult. The main reason is, psychologically, it is not acceptable. According to the specific analysis of Wenrenfian's experience, she only wants revenge and should not do anything to him. He had actually approached her last night, but she had no ill will towards him. She just wanted him to take on her mission. Chapter 310. Back to the real world. The reward is very tempting. the rune bead of an S-class warrior. Jin Ke now knows that there is a black bow and arrow and a set of black armor in the rune bead. I wonder if there are any other treasures. Take it. This mission has come to this point, and I can't give up halfway. Justice is never absent, it is only late. Now, Jin Ke will preside over this justice for Wen Renfian and help her to uphold justice. The world can be unfair, but people must have the most basic fairness, justice and conscience in their hearts. Otherwise, the world will become more terrifying than Horror City. After making the decision, Jin leaned against the dried corpse of Wen Renfian and tried to make himself fall asleep. It's actually very difficult to fall asleep at this time, but Jin played games until midnight last night, and then he couldn't stop dreaming when he was idle, and now he is really a little tired. 1 sheep, 2 sheep, 3 sheep, 4 sheep. Jin counted the sheep and fell asleep unknowingly. When he woke up, Jin found that the woman in white dress, Wen Renfian, was floating in front of him. Hello. Jin stood up and greeted Wen Renfian. This is a real female ghost. Fortunately, this is the second time he has dealt with a ghost. The last time was Luo Chun in the subway station. Compared with some people, ghosts are much kinder than them. You already know my experience. Are you willing to help me? Wen Renfian said. It depends on how you want me to help. Jin Ke did not say everything. It is better to be cautious when dealing with female ghosts, especially resentful ghosts. Actually, it's very simple. You just need to bring me back to the real world, and then take me to that family's house. You don't have to worry about the rest. I will handle it myself. Wen Renfian replied. Jin Ke, bring you back to the real world? How to do it? Jin couldn't help but feel very strange. It's like this. I'm just a remnant soul now. You just need to relax and agree to let me attach to your soul. When you return to the real world from the game world, you can take me back. Wen Renfian told Jin Ke, you are an S-level expert. How do I know if you will take the opportunity to seize my body? Jin Ke still had to say something ugly in advance. It's okay to help others, but don't get yourself involved. I have been wandering here for more than 10 years, and my soul power is very weak. In addition, you have 7 souls. I only need to attach to one of them. When I get to where I want to go, I will naturally find a way to seize the body of the person I want to seize. I just want revenge. I have no interest in your body. Wen Renfian answered Jin Ke, your soul power is very strong. You even know that I have 7 souls. Jin Ke hesitated. After all, he had never experienced such a thing before. I am an S-class shooter, now in soul form, and can feel the existence of your main soul and 7 souls. I have a certain understanding of multiple souls, so I am more aware of your current situation. If you agree to let me attach myself to one of your souls, I can use my soul power to help you separate that soul, and then leave all the cultivation of my residual soul on that soul, so that your soul will inherit all my skills and even some of my attributes. My attachment to your soul is only temporary. Everything I have done in this game world, working hard to make myself stronger, and even venturing into the nightmare castle, has only one purpose, which is to reshape my body and return to the real world for revenge. But it is definitely impossible to reshape my body now. This is the only way for me to return to the real world to avenge my parents and myself. I have no reason to hurt you. You helped me. I will be extremely grateful to you, and I will always remember your kindness in my heart. In addition, your main soul is very powerful, so powerful that it scares me. I feel the soul breath of a strong man in your main soul that is stronger than that of an SSS level strong man. If I guess correctly, you have even survived in the wild darkness. With my weak soul now, I dare not try to attach to your main soul, or attack your main soul, which will only lead to my own destruction. Wen Renfian said to Jin Ke very sincerely. Okay, you try to attach to my soul, but once I find out that you have any evil thoughts, I will immediately use my soul power to kill you. Jin Ke was silent for a long time, but still agreed. Judging from the situation in the memory fragments, Wen Renfian did not lie. Anyone who has her experience will be unforgettable and want revenge wholeheartedly, just like his apprentice Chen Yang. Relatively speaking, this kind of person is actually very simple and does not have so many conspiracies. Of course, during the attachment process, Jin Ke will also pay close attention to her every move. Well, I'll start now. Try to relax. otherwise we may all get hurt," Wen Renfian said, and her whole body quickly condensed into a small ball of white light, slowly approaching Jinke's head. When she got closer, Jin could feel that his main soul and 7 secondary souls lit up at the same time, just like what happened in the darkness in the wild. The main soul in the middle was a large ball of white light, surrounded by 7 small balls of white light, tightly clustered around the large ball of white light. Among the 7 small balls of white light, one was twice as big as the others, and it seemed to be the soul that was successfully separated and transferred to a mage. Wen Renfian's residual soul flew in. After her residual soul approached, it was obviously weaker than any of Jinke's souls, and the light it emitted was weaker. Jinke's soul breath could even feel her trembling, as if he was a little afraid to attach himself to her. "Come over here." Jin calmed his body and mind and relaxed his spirit. Wen Renfian's residual soul slowly floated over and gently touched one of Jinke's souls. Jin felt a slight dull pain in his head, and his mind subconsciously tensed up, and all the white light of his soul became blazing in an instant. Wen Renfian's residual soul stopped, trembling, as if he wanted to escape. Jin took a few deep breaths to calm himself down again. His soul's white light also became gentle. Wen Renfian's residual soul approached again and tried to touch Jinke's soul again. This time, Jinke's brain did not feel dull pain again. Wen Renfian's residual soul continued to touch, and finally, slowly attached to Jinke's soul, and then quieted down and did not move. "Your soul is much stronger than I detected. If you have the slightest killing intention, my soul will be scattered," Wen Renfian said with a wry smile. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 311. The Old Driver starts. It's good that you know. What should we do next? Let's complete the task as soon as possible. Jin was not used to having a ghost in his soul, and it was the soul of an S-level strongman. Now of course, he had to complete the task as soon as possible to get the reward and send Wen Renfian to where she should go. You try to wake up first, then exit the game world, return to the real world, and find a way to find the people in my memory fragments, my aunt, my uncle, or my cousin. It's best to find my cousin and get close enough to him. Wen Renfian said her plan. Find someone ... Okay, I try to wake up, how should I try? Jin asked Wen Renfian. Pinch yourself ... or ... bang your head against the wall. Wen Renfian thought about it and suggested a few words to Jin. Not good. Jin pinched himself and found that it didn't work. The idea of banging your head against the wall ... Forget it. It feels stupid. How did you wake up when I entered your dream last night? Wen Renfian asked Jin. I don't know. I just woke up like that. Jin frowned. How about you think of something scary and wake yourself up? Wen Renfian came up with another idea. Nothing can really scare me, but after hearing what Wen Renfian said, Jin had an idea. He closed his eyes and began to imagine himself standing next to a ditch in his childhood, and then he stepped over and missed a step, and fell into it. Now he really returned to his childhood, standing next to a small ditch, and then he really missed a step. Jin woke up. He was still in the tomb, leaning against Wen Renfian's dried corpse. Jin returned to Zhang Mengdai's birthplace, found a safe place to exit the game cabin, and returned to the real world. Are you still there? Jin sat on the bed in his bedroom and asked Wen Renfian. Yes. A voice appeared in Jin's mind. This feeling is really strange. If you haven't experienced and familiar with all this in the game world, the sudden appearance of another person's voice in your mind will scare you. If you see a doctor, you will definitely be diagnosed with schizophrenia. Jin had already thought of a way to find the target of the task. That is to use the tutor's recruitment system and enter the specified conditions to search. Although Jin has recruited 15 students, it is no problem to recruit more, but there is no reward. Tell me a name and I will help you find someone, Jin said to Wen Renfian. Then find Wen Renfian. Wen Renfian thought about it and answered Jin. When talking about this name, Wen Renfian's tone was obviously a little cold. Your cousin? The boy who beat you? Yes. Jin Ke just completed the task and didn't ask any more questions. After asking Wenren for the name, he started searching for the specified conditions in the tutor task in the mobile game interface. Male, Wenren, in his 30s, Wenren's cousin. The tutor recruitment system was very efficient, and the search results came out quickly. A man appeared on the mobile phone screen. He was riding an electric motorcycle, standing at an intersection in the suburbs of Huang City and playing with his mobile phone. The tutor task system gave his exact location. That's him. Wenren was a little excited. It seems that they are not doing well now after owing so much money to your family and falsely claiming your compensation. Jin could tell at a glance that Wenren should be doing the business of a motorcycle driver now. Take me to find him. Wenren was a little impatient. No problem. Jin picked up the phone and walked out of the room. It was morning, and most of the dormitory doors of the female employees were open, and some employees were visiting each other. The sounds of talking, laughing, and chattering were everywhere. Huh? The leader is out for inspection? I'm touched. Leader, you finally remembered us. Yes, I thought the leader had forgotten us. Hello, leader. Leader, don't stay at home like that. Come out more often. Some female employees smiled and greeted Jin Ke shamelessly. Other female employees heard the noise and walked to the door, smiling at Jin Ke together, as if they could get more bonuses if they smiled more. Does anyone know how to drive? An experienced driver with a formal driver's license. Jin Ke asked everyone. I can. I send out cars every night. I'm an experienced driver. I don't believe you guys. A female employee answered Jin Ke. The others laughed together. I'm serious. If anyone sends out cars randomly again, I'll deduct their salary. Jin Ke frowned. Where are you going? Leader, I'll drive for you. He walked in front of Jin Ke with a driver's license. Come with me. Jin Ke didn't say much and went downstairs directly. Mint, the old driver, is about to start the car. Boss, take care of yourself. Be careful. Having sex in a car on the road is illegal. It will be troublesome if you are caught. There were bursts of shameless laughter from behind. After getting in the car, Jin Ke told Mint the target location. Mint, the old driver, started the car and arrived at Jin Ke's target location in half an hour. Wenren took a business on the way and left the original intersection, but in front of the powerful mentor recruitment search system, once locked, the net is vast and you can't escape even if you want to. Of course, he didn't know someone was looking for him. After confirming that Wenren was waiting for business at an intersection not far away, Jin got out of the car and let Mint wander around for a while and pick him up at the designated location later. After getting off the car, Jin walked slowly to where Wenren was, and then pretended to be tired. Want a ride? It's cheaper than a taxi, and faster. Wenren took the initiative to solicit business from Jin Ke. At this moment, he absolutely could not imagine what a miserable situation he would face. How much does it cost to go to the China World Trade Center? Jin Ke just came from the China World Trade Center, and it was only half a stop away from here. He casually told Wenren a place. Oh, it's a bit far. It will cost at least 20 yuan. How about this? I'll charge you 15. Wenren quoted a price to Jin Ke. Okay. Jin Ke rode on the back seat of Wenren electric motorcycle. Wenren started the electric motorcycle and went around to another long road next to it. According to Wenren's statement, Jin Ke tried to get his head closer to Wenren's head. At a certain moment, Jin Ke suddenly felt a stuffiness in his head. Are you there? Jin Ke asked Wenren in his mind. No answer. Could she have left? Chapter 312 If there is an afterlife. At this moment, the electric motorcycle suddenly lost control and seemed to fall down. Fortunately, Jin Ke was very agile and quickly jumped off the electric motorcycle. Wenren also jumped off the electric motorcycle before it fell to the ground, and the electric motorcycle fell to the ground a few meters ahead. Thank you. I have succeeded. Wenren walked over and said to Jin Ke, Yan? Jin Ke was a little surprised to hear this male voice. Yes, his soul was too weak, and I directly occupied his body and squeezed him aside without even a trace of resistance. It's really rubbish. Wenren answered Jin Ke. So, my mission is completed? Jin Ke confirmed with Wenren. There was a residual soul of an S-level strongman in his soul, which was not a good thing no matter how you looked at it. Yes, the seal of the rune bead has been automatically lifted, and you can take the things inside. In addition, to thank you, I have successfully separated the soul that I attached to you, and transferred all my cultivation, several skills and basic attributes of the archer profession to your soul. Unfortunately, I am only a remnant soul now, and the transferred strength and skills may not be easy to use. You still have to slowly practice the archer profession yourself, but I believe that with your strength, this is not a big problem. Wen Renfian nodded. Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell me? Jin couldn't help but be very happy. After returning to the game world again, the first thing he wanted to check was the newly opened archer profession. Originally, Jin did this task just for the sealed rune bead, but he never thought that he would get this extra benefit. It is equivalent to getting a set of SS level potion soul splitting potion for free, and successfully separating the second soul. This task is very profitable. Jin has already considered the possibility of taking the Rookie King rewards of the three professions of assassin, archer and mage at the same time. The only thing to solve now is the identity problem. You know, a student can only participate in the Rookie King competition of one profession. No, thank you very much. I will die with regrets without your help. If there is an afterlife, I will definitely repay you for this great kindness. Wen Renfian answered Jin. What are you going to do next? Jin asked Wen Renfian. I will invite my aunt and uncle to go on a trip as my cousin and give them an unforgettable experience. Wen Renfian's voice became cold and stern. Being tricked by my own son who dotes on me. To a place without sunlight, to endure all kinds of torture, and I don't understand why. Alas, the scene is too beautiful and I dare not watch it, but it's what I deserve. Jin sighed. He had already thought of the extremely miserable scene of family love killing each other. Yes, that's what they deserve. Moreover, I will do these things in front of my cousin, so that he can also feel the pain of losing my parents. Wen Renfian's voice became colder. She must have recalled many things at this time. After death in the real world, the soul will be transferred to the character in the game. Jin reminded Wen Renfian. Yes. Wen Renfian didn't quite understand what Jin meant, and thought he was talking about her. You killed someone in the real world, and you will definitely not be able to escape the punishments of the law. Why don't I recruit you as my employee? After you settle the grudges in the real world, you can use his character to enter the game world and continue to explore the game world. Jin said his plan. Yes, why didn't I think of it? Wen Renfian was a little excited. Also, I am a mentor now. I can recruit students into the game, and then transform them into NPCs, so that they can do hard labor in the game world for a lifetime and never be free. After you tortured them for a few days, it would be too easy to kill them. It's better to hand them over to me to continue to torture them. Jin added a few more words. That's even better. Killing them is too easy for them. Wen Renfian was so excited that her body trembled. Well, you said that if there is an afterlife, you will definitely repay me. You don't have to repay me in the next life. You can repay me now. Tell me, where did you enter the nightmare maze from the game world? Is the nightmare maze mentioned in your memory fragment the nightmare castle? If not, how did you enter the nightmare castle from the nightmare maze? Jin asked Wen Renfian a few questions. The nightmare maze is not the nightmare castle. I first heard about a place called the nightmare maze. You need S-level cultivation to enter. The internal layout of the maze is extremely complicated. I was on the 8th floor of the maze. When I was avoiding a group of monsters chasing me, I accidentally hit a portal and was teleported into the nightmare castle. I can draw the location of the nightmare maze for you. But how to enter the nightmare castle from the nightmare maze is very complicated. I really can't describe it accurately. Wen Renfian answered Jin. Did you enter the nightmare maze when you were playing the text mud game? No. After I died in the real world, my soul entered the game world. That's when I realized that the game world is also a real world, not just what the text describes. If I didn't want to avenge my parents, I might pursue stronger strength in the game world, enjoy everything in the game world, and find out the truth behind the game, instead of risking my life to find a way back to the real world. Wen Renfian shook her head. When you just entered the nightmare castle from the nightmare maze, where did you appear? In an energy cabin, or on the teleportation platform? Jin continued to ask. When Renfian had been wandering in the Nightmare Castle for so many years, both when he was alive and after his death, so he should know a lot about the Nightmare Castle. Zhang Mengdai appeared in the energy cabin in the basement when he logged into the game, and only with his help did he open the door and begin to explore the world outside the door. When Renfian's experience, compared with Zhang Mengdai's experience, may help him solve the secrets behind the Nightmare Castle as soon as possible. No, I appeared in the Wolf Cave. Wolf Cave. You must be a little confused after hearing this. It's like this. In the 10 years since my death, my residual soul has been wandering around the Nightmare Castle. I found that the layout of each area of the Nightmare Castle changes about every 2 years. Some areas are new, like the yard where you and your little girl appeared. It has always been locked and inaccessible, and has never been opened. When Renfian began her explanation, after you entered the Nightmare Castle, have you met other players? Chapter 313 Wolf Cave. No, except you guys. Did you not meet any players in the 10 years since you died? Yes. Have you entered the castle with the missing round sculpture on the door? No. I always thought that the method of reshaping the body after death was in the castle, but I didn't expect it to be realized in disguise through you. You didn't enter the castle? Then ... You appeared in the Wolf Cave. Where did you buy your black weapons? Jin Ke heard Wen Renfian say that she had never entered the courtyard where he and Zhang Mengdai were born, and felt that there was something contradictory in Wen Renfian's words, so he asked her. I bought it in the store. There is also a courtyard next to the Wolf Cave, with various stores in it. But the passage from the Wolf Cave to the Evil Spirit Castle was blocked when the layout changed, and you can't go to the Wolf Cave and that courtyard now. How did you find the tomb deep in the giant rhino cave? Jin changed the question. I was hunting the fierce rhinoceros in the depression, and I was looking for an opportunity to sneak into the giant fierce rhinoceros's lair to search for treasure. As a result, I was forced into a dead corner of the cave. When I used the rolling skill, I was panicked and accidentally ran into the tomb. I really didn't expect the monster in the coffin to be so powerful and fatal to me. When Renfian sighed. Did you drop gold coins in the giant fierce rhinoceros's cave? How many did you drop in total? Jin suddenly thought of something. Only one, right? I remember that after I exchanged weapons and equipment, I only had 1 gold coin left, and later it was not with me. It must have accidentally dropped somewhere and you picked it up? Yes. Jin was relieved to hear Wen Renfian's answer, so that he would not be unwilling to go to the giant fierce rhinoceros's feces to look for gold coins. It's great that you picked it up. I hope it can be of some use to you. You know, it's really not easy to get gold coins in this ancient castle. It can be considered that my work was not in vain. Wen Renfian smiled. It's really painful to get gold coins. By the way, have you found the fragment of the circular sculpture on the door of the Nightmare Castle? Jin asked another important question. I got a fragment of the sculpture from the Wolf King's stomach. Because it was inconvenient to carry, I put it where I usually sleep. At that time, I estimated that there should be another one on the giant rhino. When hunting the giant rhino, I accidentally bumped into the tomb. Where is the Wolf Cave roughly? Jin heard about the whereabouts of another sculpture fragment, so of course he had to find out clearly. Let me draw a picture for you. When Renfian drew on the ground, on the other side of the depression, there are continuous high mountains. Originally, there was an arrow and winding road leading to the Wolf Cave, but now that road is blocked. If Jin wants to go there, it will probably be difficult. I found that each area in the Nightmare Castle is like a module, especially in the marginal areas like the Wolf Cave. Not only will the passage be blocked, but the specific coordinates may also change. Even if I tell you the approximate location, you may not be able to find it by digging. And the tops of those mountains are forbidden and cannot be crossed at all. But I think the Wolf Cave must be connected to the main body of the Nightmare Castle in another way, such as another passage. Otherwise, if you can't get the fragment of the sculpture in the Wolf Cave, you can't enter the Nightmare Castle, and the design of this place loses its meaning. The general terrain of the Wolf Cave is like this. My birthplace is here. There is a passage from here to the store area. I bought my bow and leather armor there. In order to save enough money to buy bows and leather armor, I killed wild wolves for more than a year. When Renfian told Jin Ke about her previous experience. When you accidentally teleported into the nightmare castle from the nightmare maze, did you bring your weapons, equipment and various items with you? Jin Ke thought of an important question. Speaking of this, I really want to vomit blood. After I was teleported here, I brought nothing with me except the white dress I was wearing. That was the hard work of more than 10 years in the game world. And all the weapons and equipment sold here are very basic. Although the black equipment is better than the orange equipment, it is far worse than what I used before. When Renfian still looked depressed when she mentioned this. Then, how did you hunt those wild wolves before you had bows and leather armor? Jin Ke was also a little disappointed. He thought he could get all the S-level equipment and treasures on Wen Renfian. Even if he can't use S-level equipment and weapons now, he can exchange them for a large number of weapons, equipment and treasures that he can use in the market. There are bamboos and various trees in the wolf area. I made my own bows and arrows to hunt wolves. Although the damage is very low, I can slowly grind them down one by one. That's why it took me more than a year to save money to buy weapons and equipment. It was such a boring experience that I couldn't bear to look back on it. Besides, I didn't dare to leave the wolf cave to attack other monsters without getting weapons and equipment. The worst thing is that the store only sells the most basic weapons and equipment, and the damage is too low for me. Will those wild wolves be reborn after they die? Yes, they refresh very slowly. I counted them. There are a total of 6 ordinary wild wolves, and a wolf king. They all act in groups. If I'm not careful, I might be besieged by them. Once besieged, I might be bitten to death. For safety, I dug a lot of deep pit traps on the ground when they were resting, carefully lured them, trapped them in different traps, and then slowly wore away their health with bows and arrows. After the death of an ordinary wild wolf, it will be refreshed in about 24 hours, and the Wolf King will refresh once a week. When Renfian told Jin Ke everything in detail, making her own bow and arrows, digging test pits and traps on the ground, you can imagine how difficult it was when Renfian first entered the nightmare maze. Jin Ke felt so lucky to have Zhang Mengdai by her side to help. Fortunately, Renfian was already an S-level strongman at that time, with rich combat experience and a strong will. Otherwise, she might have died as soon as she came in. Jin Ke took pictures of all the pictures Renfian drew on the ground with his mobile phone, and finally asked her to draw the location of the nightmare maze on the big map. As a result, Jin Ke had no idea where Renfian was on the big map. Renfian had never heard of the Green Plains shelter in the Moss Mountain base where Jin Ke was. It is obvious that the birthplaces of the two people after entering the game are far apart. It may not be so easy for Jin Ke to find the nightmare maze in the big map. Chapter 314 Fian Possession. Renfian roughly drew the big map she found in the game world, as well as the important strongholds, mazes, and time-space cracks on the big map for Jin Ke. Although Jin Ke didn't need it now, he might need it in the future, so it was necessary to take pictures and save them first. After separating from Renfian, Jin Ke asked Bo to pick him up and returned to the Blue Home Villa community. Leader, if you need a car in the future, find me. I'm a full-time driver and I can send a car at any time. Bo returned the car keys to Jin Ke. Okay, don't forget to give more bonuses, Bo added. No problem. After returning to the room, Jin Ke thought that he also had to take time to learn a driver's license, otherwise it would be very inconvenient to go out. However, except for things like today, he had almost no reason to go out. This is also a problem. Am I too much of a homebody? Regardless of whether I'm a homebody or not, I'll go back to the game world and take a look at my new profession. There are also black bows and leather armor. With a new profession and new equipment, I don't have to rely on Zhang Mengdai to output when killing monsters. Game world, Nightmare Castle. The black rune beads have indeed been unsealed. As soon as Jin Ke moved his mind, they turned into black runes and condensed on his body. The equipment requirement for the bow and arrow is that the basic attribute accuracy reaches more than 15 points. Jin Ke's accuracy was originally only 12 points, and now it has become 18.23 for some reason. Then Jin Ke's agility also increased from more than 15 points to 17.59, and the speed increased from 12 points to 15.62. According to Jin Ke's guess, This is probably related to the fact that the residual soul of Wenren strengthened one of his souls, allowing him to successfully separate this soul. As for the mechanism, Jin Ke is not very clear, but he doesn't need to figure it out. What he knows is that without taking the soul-splitting agent, with the help of the residual soul of an S-level warrior, he successfully opened up a third profession, shooter. Congratulations on awakening the soul skill. Flying Swallow Possession. Flying Swallow Possession, soul skill. After activation, all attributes and skills of the body will temporarily reach the peak state of S-level strongman Wenren, and the duration is 5 minutes. Skills cannot be upgraded. After the skill ends, you will enter a 24-hour weak state. All basic attributes will become 1 point, and you will not be able to use any skills. Cooling time, 168 hours. Cannot be reduced in any way. Health consumption, 99%. Energy consumption, 99%. Congratulations on awakening the archer passive skill. Vitality. Vitality, passive skill, increases the attack damage of attack skills by 40%, increases the moving distance of displacement skills by 40%, increases the range of normal attacks and skill attacks by 40%. Shortens the cooling time of all attack skills by 40%. Skills cannot be upgraded. Energy consumption, none. Cooling time, none. Congratulations on awakening the archer active skill. Tumbling assault. Rolling assault. Roll forward 5 meters, increasing the range by 50%, and strengthening the next normal attack, causing double damage to enemies in a straight line. After rolling, if there are enemies nearby, you will gain a short movement speed bonus, and after releasing the strengthened attack, the range of the next normal attack will be increased for a short period of time. With each level of skill increase, the damage of a critical hit is increased by 5%. Usage conditions, bows and crossbows. Energy consumption, 1 point. Cool down time, 5 seconds. Congratulations on awakening the archer active skill. Air bomb. Air bomb. Fire an air bomb at the enemy, causing physical damage to enemies within a 2-meter diameter and slowing them for 1 second. With each level of skill increase, the diameter of the bomb's effect increases by 0.5 meters. Usage conditions, crossbows. Energy consumption, 2, plus, skill level multiplied by 1 points. Cool down time, 10 seconds. After receiving the system prompt for awakening the 4 skills, Jin Ke was very happy. In the Nightmare Castle, he was finally not empty-handed anymore. What surprised Jin Ke even more was that after their black weapons were transformed into runes, they could be stored in their body in the form of rune energy. This seemed to mean, could they be brought back to the Moss Mountain base from here? Of course, Jin Ke went to the teleportation platform to conduct experiments as soon as possible. When he returned to dormitory number 18 of the Moss Mountain base, he was pleasantly surprised to find that the black weapons were really brought out. In this way, he could go to the Nightmare Castle for adventure without worrying about working in vain and getting nothing. Jin Ke asked Zhang Mengdai to teleport him back to the Nightmare Castle. When he examined the black bow and arrow, he accidentally found a chip on the black bow and arrow, a chip that increased the critical strike rate by 15%. There were no chips for sale in the store, so there was only one possibility. This chip was exploded when Wenren was fighting wild monsters. Chips can be installed in black weapons and black armor. There are 10 chip slots in the full set of armor. Jin Ke also found 3 chips on the armor. They all seem to be the harvest of Wenren when she killed wild monsters. The 3 chips on the armor also increase the critical hit rate. But it is not surprising. Wenren basic attack skill is Rolling Assault. The characteristic of this skill is that it must hit a critical hit to maximize the damage value. If the passive skill of Kiss of Death also works on the archer profession, Jin Ke should be able to hit a critical hit 100% as long as he shoots an arrow behind the enemy. This can only be known after trying it in the virtual park field. However, it is more difficult for the archer, a long-range profession, to always stay behind the enemy and shoot. After all, the archer is different from the assassin, and it is still necessary to install a chip that increases the critical hit rate. Wenren should have exploded the chip when hunting wild wolves. She has been killing wild wolves for more than a year, so it is not surprising that she exploded 4 chips. I think other wild monsters should also be able to explode chips, but the probability of exploding is very low. At present, all the wild monsters that can be found in the Nightmare Castle have been killed, and it is not known when they will refresh. Otherwise, Jin can try his new weapon. Jin Ke brought Zhang Mengdai to the giant rhino's nest again, passed through the wall and entered the tomb, but saw the coffin inside. If he wants to continue exploring the Nightmare Castle, Jin Ke must first solve this coffin, otherwise the exploration will be a dead end. When Renfian opened the locks around the coffin and opened the coffin lid, but was killed instantly by the demon inside. Therefore, the coffin lid must not be opened. But it should be possible to move the coffin as a whole, right? As long as the coffin lid is not opened, everything will be fine, right? You have to try to know. Chapter 315 Coffin. Jin Ke approached carefully and confirmed that the locks around the coffin were locked. Then he pushed the coffin hard. He really pushed it. Push, push, I push again. After Jin Ke pushed the coffin to the side, he found a round hole under the coffin. There was a ladder in the hole, which could only accommodate one person. He didn't know where it led to. It would be better to let Zhang Mengdai go down and explore it first. Although there might be side effects after Zhang Mengdai's death, it was just Jin Ke's guess. At least she could be resurrected. Jin Ke himself only had one life, so it would be better to let her explore the way in front and he would protect her from behind. Jin Ke had an idea about how to kill the demon in the coffin. If it was feasible, he could get the treasure in the coffin. He had to dig a hole here so that the coffin could be moved out. Zhang Mengdai could also get in through this hole to help him explore the way. There was no way to dig a hole before. Now Jin Ke had the tools to dig holes. The black bow and arrow. After Jin Ke's death charge came out of the tomb, he began to roll and shoot at the wall of the giant rhino's nest. Jin Ke only had a bow, no arrows, but this black bow did not need arrows. After pouring energy into it, rune arrows naturally formed. The speed of the rune arrows was much faster than that of normal arrows, and it looked almost the same as the speed of light. The range was about 30 meters. With the passive skill Vigorous, the range increased to 42 meters. After using the rolling assault skill, the range increased to 63 meters. Jin Ke remembered that the range of sea-level shooter Li Zheng was only about 50 meters at most. Unexpectedly, his range was even longer than Li Zheng's, reaching 63 meters. For shooters, range is the most important combat attribute. They must always attack outside the opponent's attack range, so that the opponent cannot fight back and is kited to death. This is the ultimate secret of the shooter. The most important magic weapon for archers to restrain mages is range. Under the normal setting of the game Horror City, the average attack range of mages is about 30 meters, and the average attack range of archers is about 50 meters. Archers with strong attack power and ultra-long range often only need one arrow, or at most 2 arrows, to kill a fragile mage in seconds. Of course, the longer the range, the higher the requirement for accuracy. For such a long range, if you don't strengthen the training of accuracy attributes, you will basically miss. But this problem does not exist now. Jin Ke only needs to shoot at the wall of the cave at close range. After a while, Jin Ke shot a big hole in the cave wall. Master, if I use the fireball spell, I should be able to blow a big hole in one go. Do you want me to help? Zhang Mengdai saw what Jin Ke was doing and gave him a few suggestions. Yes. Then, the mountain collapsed because of your explosion, and we were buried inside. The tomb inside also collapsed, and the treasures in the coffin could not be taken. Jin Ke answered Zhang Mengdai. Ah, that was a close call. Master is so smart. Master is so far-sighted. I, your disciple, am ashamed of myself. I bow down to you. Jin Ke ignored Zhang Mengdai's obvious flattery and continued to shoot at the cave wall, expanding the space inside bit by bit. After half an hour, he finally punched through a 5-meter-long passage, and the two of them could bend over and drill into the tomb through this passage. Wow, there are a lot of treasures in the coffin, right? Zhang Mengdai saw the coffin and walked over quickly. Don't touch it, there is a demon inside, and it will kill you instantly. Jin quickly stopped Zhang Mengdai, then carefully went around to the other side of the coffin and pushed it into the dug passage, pushing it from the tomb to the cave outside bit by bit. and then pushing it out of the cave bit by bit. The coffin was not very heavy. Zhang Mengdai helped control the direction in front, and Jin Ke pushed hard from behind. After a while, they pushed it to the stone steps. Jin Ke lifted the head of the coffin onto the stone steps and asked Zhang Mengdai to hold it. After adjusting the angle and direction, he pushed it up from below. With the help of Zhang Mengdai, he pushed it back to the ground from the depression. What does the master want to do? Push the coffin back and keep it for yourself? Zhang Mengdai was puzzled by Jin Ke's actions. For you, Jin Ke answered Zhang Mengdai with a dark face. I have an energy cabin, so I don't need this thing. Master, keep it for yourself. 10 minutes later, the coffin was pushed to the courtyard outside the birthplace. Jin Ke carefully opened the 4 locks around the coffin lid. With the experience of Wenrenfian, Jin Ke knew that as long as the coffin lid was not opened, the black fog demon would not appear. Jin Ke pulled out the metal bolt on the fountain winch. After the winch started to rotate, the fountain immediately sprayed hundreds of water jets into the sky, forming a rainstorm. At the same time, the 2 alloy pillars in the sky began to emit high-voltage arcs every half a minute or so. I don't know when the humanoid water monster will be refreshed and reborn. Jin Ke and Zhang Mengdai hid in the room. After a few minutes, they used the detection plug-in to detect it. After leaving the depression, the plug-in can be used. Unexpectedly, the humanoid water monster has appeared in the yard. It seems that as long as the fountain is turned on, the humanoid water monster can be resurrected. Originally, Jin Ke designed this mechanism, thinking that he would have to wait until tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, or a week later to open the coffin lid, but he didn't expect it to be so soon. According to the previous tactics, Jin Ke asked Zhang Mengdai to lead the humanoid water monster away, and he stood at the door of the birthplace and aimed at the cover of the coffin with the bow and arrow in his hand. The cover 10 meters away is easy to aim. Jin Ke shot an arrow, and the rune energy arrow exploded at the contact point on the side of the coffin lid, instantly lifting the coffin lid up. A demon formed by a thick black fog stood up from the coffin, holding a hell fork with a dark metallic cluster and floating out of the coffin, and a howl similar to that of a wounded beast came out of his mouth. Mengdai, go back from the corner. Jin Ke gave an order to Zhang Mengdai. Zhang Mengdai hurriedly went back to the room from the corner. The humanoid water monster lost its target and began to wander aimlessly in the courtyard. After the demon howled above the coffin for a while, it didn't find a target to attack, so it went back into the coffin, and the coffin lid automatically flew back to the coffin and locked up. It seems that this demon only has the ability to attack at close range and is indifferent to the humanoid water monster in the distance. Damn, I have to make another trip. Jin Ke used the detection plug-in to continuously detect the position of the humanoid water monster. After making sure that it was far away from the coffin, he rushed into the heavy rain and opened the locks around the coffin. Chapter 316, All Water. The humanoid water monster spotted Jin Ke and immediately approached slowly. Jin Ke saw the right moment, and with a death charge and a few big steps, he fled back to the room. The humanoid water monster over there just came to the coffin. He quickly picked up the bow and arrow, aimed and shot an arrow. He was a little nervous, so he missed the target. It doesn't matter, calm down and shoot again. This time he hit the target, and the lid of the coffin flew out. The demon formed by the black fog appeared again, howling loudly. The humanoid water monster had already walked past the coffin and was about to walk towards Jin Ke and Zhang Mengdai at the door, but turned back after hearing the demon's howl. The demon picked up the dark hell fork in his hand and stabbed the humanoid water monster fiercely. The humanoid water monster lost more than 1000 HP, but it was instantly restored to full value by the heavy rain. Jin could not help but be shocked. Zhang Mengdai's fireball with a damage of 50,000 can only deal -1 damage to the humanoid water monster under the blessing of the rainstorm buff. But this demon, under the blessing of the rainstorm buff, forked off more than 1000 points of the humanoid water monster's health with one fork. No wonder the S-level strongman Wenrenfian was killed instantly. The humanoid water monster was furious after being attacked, and also launched a lightning attack on the demon. The humanoid water monster's attack can knock off more than 100 points of the demon's health each time. At the same time, Jin Ke also detected the demon's health, a total of 100,000 points. Great, Only 100,000 points. Only 100,000 points. Not 5 million points. Otherwise it would be too desperate. In this case, the humanoid water monster only needs less than 1,000 attacks to knock it down. The interval between the humanoid water monster's lightning attacks is 2 seconds, and 1,000 attacks is just half an hour. Then sit here and watch the show. I didn't think of this method last night. Otherwise, I could have asked the humanoid water monster to help kill the giant rhino, and he wouldn't have to spend the whole night on it. Wouldn't this method be used for any difficult monsters I encounter later? The two monsters attacked each other tirelessly. After 20 minutes, the demon's health dropped to less than 1/3. Suddenly, a red light flashed on its body, and then it used a big move. This big move knocked off more than 8,000 points of the humanoid water monster's health. Jin Ke was shocked. You know, the humanoid water monster only had 10,000 points of health in total. If it was killed by the demon, his method would not work. Fortunately, the demon's big move was just like that. Although it used a few more big moves later, the damage value was never higher than more than 8,000 points. Half an hour later, the demon's health was drained, and with a loud bang, it retracted into the coffin. The coffin lid was not closed again, and it seemed that it had lost its magic power. Jin quickly asked Zhang Mengdai to lead away the humanoid water monster. Just like last time, he turned the winch counterclockwise to the end, closed the fountain and installed the brake metal rod. After losing the rainstorm buff, Zhang Mengdai's fireball easily knocked the humanoid water monster to the ground. Unfortunately, the second time the humanoid water monster was killed, nothing was dropped. But Jin Ke didn't care anymore. He was more concerned about the treasure in the coffin. It was too risky to go and get it himself, so he let Zhang Mengdai, who had the ability to resurrect, take the risk. Disciple, it's time to collect the treasure. Master has decided to give this good job to you, but whatever treasure you get, you have to give it to Master. Understand? Jin Ke said to Zhang Mengdai. Okay, I know Master will definitely protect me behind my back. Zhang Mengdai was very moved and walked forward to check it out. The coffin was full of water. Zhang Mengdai fished in the coffin for a long time and only fished out a black mask. After confirming that the coffin was no longer dangerous, Jin Ke walked over and poured out the water in the coffin bit by bit. Except for the black mask that Zhang Mengdai fished out, there was nothing else. That's it? Jin Ke took the black mask from Zhang Mengdai with some disappointment and examined it. On the forehead of the black mask was a demon holding a steel fork, which was obviously the demon that came out of the coffin earlier. Nightmare mask, a rune-type treasure. After wearing it, you can infuse 100,000 energy points to randomly generate a new face that is so ugly that it will give people nightmares, and at the same time randomly generate a new voice, new body shape and height, so that no one can recognize your original face. For each new face generated, you need to infuse an additional 100,000 energy points. A mask that can be used for disguise. 100,000 energy points can change new face. Make yourself a completely different person. Literally, it can only be random, and you can't customize a new face. Jin Ke speculated on the literal meaning. This, you can only know it after trying it. But it takes 100,000 energy points to try it once. Energy points can be used to upgrade skill levels and greatly improve one's own strength. It is not cost-effective to use them for this. However, Jin Ke thought of one thing. After comprehensive consideration, he felt that it was worth investing. That is the Rookie King competition for each profession. It is said that the champion can be awarded 200,000 energy points and other major prizes. Because Jin Ke is only one person, according to the rules, he can only participate in one of the Rookie King competitions. However, after the disguise, he can create a new identity for himself. Others can't recognize him. Doesn't that mean he can participate in multiple competitions? He now has 3 professions: assassin, mage, and shooter. He can participate in the Rookie King competition for 3 professions. If he is lucky, he may be able to get the Rookie King of 3 professions. At that time, the reward will be divided into 3 parts. From this aspect, this mask comes at the right time. Invest 100,000 energy points, get a reward of 200,000 energy points, and earn 100,000, right? The energy points in the charging device at Zhongmeng Dai's birthplace cannot be used to upgrade skills, nor can they be infused into the Nightmare Mask. He can only return to the Moss Mountain base to use the energy core. Let's try to bring the Nightmare Mask back to the Moss Mountain base first. Jin Ke used the method of storing the black bow and armor to try to transform the Nightmare Mask into a rune and store it in his body with his mind. And it worked. The black props are great. They don't take up storage space when stored in the body, and they can be equipped and stored instantly. They are tailor-made for his multi-soul body. After teleporting back to the Moss Mountain base, Jin Ke took the energy core he won from the Turbed 5 consecutive worlds, absorbed it into his body little by little, and then poured it into the Nightmare Mask little by little. After lunch, he continued. After pouring 100,000 energy points, he finally got a new face. Jin Ke tried to put the Nightmare Mask on his face and switched to the new face with his mind. After switching, Jin Ke looked in the mirror and found that he had become a few centimeters shorter and a little fatter, but the biggest change was the face. Chapter 317 Meeting. Not to mention the potholes. There are 2 big black moles, and hair grows on the big black moles, yellow buck teeth, big nose, triangular eyes, and protruding ears. This face and this figure are so ugly that there is no friend. It really affects the appearance of the city. Jin Ke himself can't bear to look at it. If you meet him on the road, you can't help but want to punch him a few times. One look will make you regret for half a year. It really gives you nightmares. The Nightmare Mask is well deserved. Jin Ke tried to speak a few words, but it turned out to be a sissy, and it was extremely wretched. This image and this voice. Jin Ke almost went insane. If he was born like this, Jin Ke decided to commit suicide. Fortunately, this is just a substitute, not the real me. Did the person who designed this mask suffer from severe psychological trauma in childhood? It's really rare to design such a weird prop. Forget it. In order to get more Newcomer King awards, I can't care so much. Jin Ke is now the deputy director of the base and the director of the security department. He has the power to buy new students from the market and to arrange student status for them. He just needs to ask Fan Wenji for a few places. This is not a matter of principle. Fan Wenji will definitely agree. Now Jin Ke can participate in 3 Newcomer King competitions. If he buys 3 faces to participate, after the tour, the ugly people in the Newcomer King competitions of various professions in the Green Plains shelter were so disgusting that all the contestants and spectators had nightmares. Just thinking about the scene is exciting. After finishing all this, it was almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The first meeting of the Qingtai Mountain base to rectify rumors and spread rumors is about to begin. Jin Ke received a large number of private messages from Qingtai Mountain base employees, reporting to him those who they knew about the rumors and attacks on Jin Ke in recent times. Some people took the initiative to send private messages to Jin Ke to apologize and beg, saying that they helped spread rumors without knowing it, and begged Jin Ke for forgiveness. Jin Ke quickly sorted out all the private messages, and finally he found that the source of a large number of rumors pointed to the same person. Li Hu, the director of the ecological park, and his subordinate Chen Ji. Some people even sent audio and video evidence of Li Hu and Chen Ji's rumor-mongering. No wonder this thing that is neither male nor female jumped so much at the last meeting. It seems that there is a reason. Moreover, until now, Li Hu has not sent a private message to Jin Ke to apologize. Jin Ke went to the security department to find Zhu Shu, his newly promoted deputy director who was responsible for the investigation of this rumor, and checked all the people who surrendered, and there was no name of Li Hu and Chen Ji. It seems that they are fearless and ready to resist to the end. Okay. The killing without mercy at yesterday's meeting was not a joke. Under Jin Ke's instructions, Zhu Shu, deputy director of the security department, sorted out all the cases of surrender and private messages. A list of punishments was drawn up for those who spread rumors, and a list of rewards was drawn up for whistleblowers. At the meeting, the rewards would be given anonymously based on the whistleblower's request. Of course, all the contribution points required for the rewards were fined from the punisher. This kind of punishment does not worry about the problem of insufficient contribution points in the account of the punished person. If it is not enough, they can be forced to go to the ecological park to pick up manure and grow vegetables until they pay it off. If you don't want to pick up manure and grow vegetables, Find a way to raise money yourself. Who told you to be unable to control your mouth and spit out manure? Before the meeting started, Jin Ke received a communication from Fan Wenji, asking him to go to the conference room to attend a high-level meeting. After he went there, Jin Ke found that it was not a formal meeting, but a meeting. A sea-level warrior came from the Green Plains shelter, a mage. The son of the Zhao family in the Green Source shelter, is in his 20s, but has already reached sea-level strength, and is a mage. His strength ranks before Master Yao, and he ranks 5th in the entire shelter. Fan Wenji introduced Zhao to Jin Ke. Hello, young Master Zhao. Jin Ke was very disgusted by the titles of young master and young master, but being in the officialdom, he still gave Fan Wenji some face. He is the new student Jin Ke who shined in these 2 rounds of the tour. Fan Wenji also introduced Jin Ke to Zhao. Yeah, I heard about it. By the way, you go to my room later and discuss your fireball technique. If it is of some use to me, I will reward you handsomely. Zhao mentioned it to Jin Ke. Sorry, I have a lot of things on my hands recently, and I am very busy at work. I am afraid I can't spare the time to communicate with Mr. Zhao. Jin Ke didn't have a good impression of Zhao, especially the words he just said. If you are of some use to him, I will give you a big reward. Did he treat Jin Ke as his family's servant? Oh, you may not understand what I mean. I can see that your fireball spells should be a long-lost rune spell. At this stage, due to the limitation of your poor basic attributes, it can only be cast in the spring water, so it is not of much use to you, but it will be very useful to our Zhao family. If you are willing to contribute, I can recruit you to join the Zhao family as an outer disciple of the Zhao family. With my care, you will have great potential for future development. Zhao tried to recruit Jin Ke. Sorry, I am doing well on the King Moss Mountain base and I am not interested in joining the Zhao family. Jin Ke rejected Zhao. Very unique. Zhao's face suddenly turned ugly. In his opinion, the Zhao family was famous in the entire Green Plains shelter. Many new students gave gifts and fought hard to become Zhao's disciples. The young man in front of him actually rejected his invitation. He was really ungrateful. Director Jin just took office and is indeed very busy recently. Please forgive me, Mr. Zhao. Fan Wenji smiled apologetically. These big families in the Green Plains shelter have voting rights in the entire shelter council, but they are much more powerful than the bases under them. They are not people like them who can afford to offend. Hey, Manager Fan, we have a good personal relationship, so I can reveal some information to you in advance. After carefully studying the last round of games, the tour organizing committee discovered a bug in his fireball technique. It was caused by the instant recovery ability of the fountain. So, the organizing committee members put forward an improvement suggestion, requiring that the fountain be changed to restore 1% of health and energy per second, and it would take more than a minute to fully recover. Currently, this proposal is still in the discussion stage. As you know, this season's tour organizing committee is mainly formed by the Zhao family. If the Zhao family unanimously opposes changing the rules, then this proposal will be temporarily shelved, at least not during this season's tour. However, if the Zhao family votes in favor, the new rules will be implemented in the next round of games. It may be very disadvantageous to you, Zhao said to Fan Wenji with a smile, obviously threatening Jin Ke to hand over his fireball technique to the Zhao family. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 318. Facing a formidable enemy. Li Hu, the director of the ecological park, received Zhao's communication yesterday. He knew that Zhao came for him and felt that Master Zhao was really affectionate. In fact, Zhao's main purpose of coming to the King Moss Mountain base this time was to ask Jin Ke for the condensation method of the rune fireball on behalf of the Zhao family. If possible, he even wanted to know how Jin Ke got these rune spells. Although they watched the process of Jin Ke summoning the fireball frame by frame, the energy runes summoned by Jin Ke were all encrypted, and each rune had a unique condensation method. Unless they got the condensation method of each rune from Jin Ke's mind, it would be impossible to research a powerful rune fireball. Unexpectedly, Jin Ke was so ungrateful and didn't give the Zhao family face at all. He even rejected Zhao's invitation to join the Zhao family in person. It's not good to change the rules at the last minute like this. I remember that the rules haven't been changed for more than a year. Fan Wenji seemed a little helpless after hearing what Zhao said. If the rules are changed, it will definitely harm the interests of the Qingtai Mountain base. However, some people ignore the interests of the entire base, and our Zhao family can't do anything about it. When Zhao said this, he looked at Jin Ke unhappily. His meaning was very clear. Don't you want to change the rules? That's fine. Just let Jin Ke agree to the Zhao family's conditions. Alas, if the rules are changed, we can only accept our fate. Fan Wenji sighed and didn't say anything more. The goal of Qingtai Mountain Base this quarter is to be in the top 4. After entering the top 4, the supply of materials for the next quarter can be guaranteed. As for the more generous rewards for the top 2 or even the champion, Fan Wenji thinks that if he has a chance, he should try it. It doesn't matter if he can't get it. So, after entering the top 4, he has given all the rewards that can be given to Jin Ke. Manager Fan really has no enterprising spirit, which is disappointing. Zhao stood up and left, looking really angry. Mr. Zhao, this. Fan Wenji hurriedly chased after him. As the head of the base, he still didn't want to offend the Zhao family of the shelter. Even if Zhao's request was unreasonable, he could only try to meet it. But now that Jin Ke was involved, Fan Wenji couldn't say anything, and the Zhao family's request was obviously excessive, so it was normal for Jin Ke to refuse. Fan Wenji would not and could not force Jin Ke to agree to Zhao's request. Now all he could do was to treat Zhao as a host and calm his anger to the maximum extent. Otherwise, if the Zhao family of the shelter really wanted to make things difficult for the Qingtai Mountain base, it would really be very troublesome. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the first Qingtai Mountain base rumor rectification general meeting was officially held. Banners were hung at the meeting site, and red cloth was placed on the rostrum. If you ignore the strange plants growing nearby, Jin Ke instantly had the illusion of being at a meeting in the real world. At the beginning of the meeting, Fan Wenji spoke on behalf of the senior leaders of the base and supported Jin Ke's action to rectify the rumors. Then, Zhu Shu, the deputy director of the security department newly promoted by Jin Ke, read out the punishment list of this governance action on behalf of Jin Ke. All the people on the punishment list had voluntarily surrendered to the security department, and Jin Ke punished them with thousands to tens of thousands of contribution points according to the severity of their rumor-mongering. All the people who reported the incident did not want their names to be published. Zhu Shu announced the rewards in public, only for their rewards for reporting someone. Each reward was directly deposited into the reporter's account for them to check for themselves. After Zhu Shu announced the rewards and punishments, Jin Ke walked onto the podium. I have received many private messages, with a lot of solid evidence, pointing to the biggest rumor maker. But until now, they have not turned themselves into the security department, nor have they sent me a private message to confess their guilt. I said in yesterday's meeting that in troubled times, severe punishments should be used. If I find out that someone is the main culprit who spread the rumor, but does not confess and turn himself in voluntarily, kill. No, pardon. Do you really think I'm joking? Jin Ke's eyes were fixed in the direction of Li Hua and Chen Ji. Everyone at the scene also looked in the direction of Li Hua and Chen Ji. Li Hua looked indifferent, and even sneered, not taking Jin Ke seriously at all. Li Hua, Chen Ji, the two of you come to the podium. Jin Ke ordered Li Hua and Chen Ji. If they were not executed publicly, did they really think that the new director Jin was a paper tiger? What he said was bullshit. After Jin Ke's order was issued, Li Hua and Chen Ji did not go to the podium, but the other 3 people did. This man was accompanied by 2 black-clad guards, who were clearly wearing high-level armor underneath their black clothes. The audience could not help but burst into an uproar. It's Zhao, the 3rd son of the Zhao family, one of the top 5 mages in the entire shelter. Why is he here? What is he doing on stage? Some people who knew Zhao all started to discuss. There were very few mages in the entire shelter, and each of the top 10 mages in the shelter was the most important resource of the shelter, and each of them was famous. Zhao was the 3rd son of the Zhao family, so his identity was naturally more extraordinary. This time, sea-level mage came to King Moss Mountain, And he also brought with him the inner disciples of the Zhao family, 2 sea-level strongmen as escorts, an assassin, and a warrior to protect him closely. 3 sea-level strongmen appeared together. Yao Chengzu looked as if he was facing a great enemy, and glanced at Fan Wenji, Ran Maqiang, and Li Zheng beside him. The 4 of them exchanged glances, and their expressions were extremely nervous, but they all nodded quietly. These 3 came uninvited and went directly to the podium, obviously wanting to interfere in the internal affairs of Qingtai Mountain. If they made a move on Jin Ke, even if they were from the extremely powerful Zhao family in the shelter, Fan Wenji and others would have to protect Jin Ke's safety, otherwise they would be ridiculed by the world. Director Jin, Li Hua and Chen Ji had already joined the Zhao family before the meeting and became Zhao's outer disciples. If they made any mistakes, it would be the internal affairs of the Zhao family. Director Jin, please give me a face and let me take them back to deal with them. Zhao mentioned this to Jin Ke, but it was obviously not a tone of negotiation, but a tone of command. The discussion among the participants at the scene became louder and louder. This scene was great. Director Jin's words were spoken and spilled. If he could not execute them, he would be slapping himself in the face. How could he have the nerve to speak harshly at the meeting in the future? However, if he dared to continue to execute them, he would not be able to execute them at all with Zhao and other 3 powerful Zhao family members on the scene to stop him. Chapter 319. Blatant Provocation. If Jin Ke dared to enforce the order by force, he might be beaten up by the 3 people, which would hurt his reputation and make it impossible for him to stay in the base in the future. He was really in a dilemma. Little beast, do you really think you are so great? Kill without mercy? If you have the guts, come and touch me. Li Hua had a smug look on his face. With Zhao's support, he really didn't take Jin Ke seriously. Who doesn't know the reputation of the Zhao family in the shelter? If he dared to offend the Zhao family, he would have to do it if Jin Ke didn't want to stay in the Green Plain shelter. Fan Wenji and others were extremely nervous at this time. Although it was embarrassing for Jin Ke to admit his defeat now, they still hoped that Jin Ke would admit his defeat. After Jin Ke admitted his defeat, Zhao should not embarrass him too much. It was not worth offending the entire Zhao family for Li Hua and Chen Ji. However, Fan Wenji also knew that Jin Ke's personality did not seem to be the kind that would admit his defeat. This is an internal meeting of the King Moss Mountain base. Who told you to come to the podium? Get off immediately, otherwise, you will be punished according to the meeting discipline. Jin Ke did not admit defeat, but fought back. The audience could not help but burst into an uproar. Supervisor Jin is really fearless. It's okay inside the base, but this is the 3rd son of the Zhao family in the shelter. Li Hua and Chen Ji showed a hint of a grim smile on their faces, especially Li Hua. He was worried that Jin Ke would admit defeat. Once Jin Ke admitted defeat, Zhao would definitely not do anything to Jin Ke for the sake of Fan Wenji. However, now Jin Ke actually confronted Master Zhao, and Master Zhao would not let this matter go easily even for the sake of face. Fan Wenji sighed and hinted to the 3 people around him with his eyes that these supervisors usually carry soldiers and armor even in the base, and can enter a state of war at any time. Of course, they will not take the initiative to attack people from the Zhao family, and will not even fight back after being attacked. They were just on guard against the Zhao family suddenly attacking Jin Ke. They would immediately rush out to block the Zhao family's attacks for Jin Ke. Even if this happened to Luo Ye, they would handle it the same way. There was no way. If the 5 elites of the base were not united at this critical moment, they would be ridiculed by outsiders. Ha 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 ha. Zhao laughed after hearing what Jin Ke said. Li Hua was just a toy of his abnormal hobby. The main purpose of bringing people to the podium to mess things up was to demonstrate to Jin Ke, newcomer who doesn't know how to raise a hand, if you don't give face to my Zhao family, I will make you lose face. You will never have face in the future. I said, they are already members of the Zhao family. Do you want to touch the Zhao family? After Zhao laughed a few times, his face became extremely cold and gloomy. Everyone present felt an extremely powerful energy oppression. His energy cultivation has probably reached the 3rd level. If the all-shelter mage professional competition is held again, he might have reached the top 3. Yao Chengzu frowned. He is only at the 2nd level of energy cultivation now. Zhao also used to be at the 2nd level of energy cultivation, but from the current situation, This Mr. Zhao has obviously made a new breakthrough. The cultivation resources of large families are different, and mages are often the focus of family training. Fan Wenji, Ran Maqian and others looked at Jin Ke on the stage with great worry. Today's matter really can't end well. I repeat again, this is an internal meeting of the King Moss Mountain base. Get out immediately, otherwise, don't blame me for enforcing the punishment according to the meeting rules. After hearing Zhao's threat, Jin Ke's tone became even tougher. This is the first time I've seen such a reckless person. Okay, I want to see how you're going to punish me. Zhao walked towards Jin Ke on the podium step by step. The two guards beside him followed him closely, one on the left and one on the right. Jin Ke's eyes turned cold, and purifying heart and soul stasis appeared in his left and right hands respectively. At the same time, he activated the 5 skills of purifying heart, soul gathering technique, arbitration of good and evil, fatal redemption, and death charge, and forcibly rushed behind Zhao. The next moment, the green mist of Jin Ke's fatal redemption was dispelled by Zhao, but Jin Ke had already left the podium with a rolling assault, and a rune arrow shot at Li Hua and Chen Ji. And then soul stasis, arbitration of good and evil, fatal redemption, and death charge appeared behind Li Hua. After the green mist dissipated again, Chen Ji's body had fallen to the ground. Li Hua was not dead, but her arms and legs were broken by Jin Ke, and her waist was also broken. She was dragged behind Jin Ke, screaming like a dead dog. Chen Ji's head was held in Jin Ke's hand at this time. The sea-level assassin beside Zhao was about to use the displacement skill to chase Jin Ke, but was stopped by Zhao. Because Fan Wenji and others had all left their seats and blocked Zhao and the other two, the 4 were fully armed, with weapons in hand, and they formed a battle formation, ready to fight desperately at any time. Fan Wenji, the director of the Qingtai Mountain base, used his actions to make one thing clear to Zhao. That is, don't even think about touching our people in the Qingtai Mountain base. Although your Zhao family is powerful, you, Zhao, are wrong for interfering in the internal affairs of Qingtai Mountain base and trespassing on the rostrum. If you dare to make a move on the personnel of Qingtai Mountain base, don't blame me, Fan Wenji, for risking offending the Zhao family and keeping you, Zhao, here. Mr. Zhao, kill this little beast. Mr. Zhao, save me. Li Hua's bones were shattered by Jin Ke, and she was in great pain. She gritted her teeth and called for help from Zhao. They committed a crime in Qingtai Mountain base and will be punished by Qingtai Mountain base. If you think they are from the Zhao family, take them back. Jin Ke came to Fan Wenji and others and stood by them, throwing Chen Ji's head at Zhao's feet. In addition, Li Hua, whose hands, feet and waist were broken, was thrown in front of Zhao like a dead dog. Thousands of participants in the audience were silent at this time, and they watched the scene on the rostrum with nervous expressions. Jin Ke didn't take the Zhao family of the Green Plain Shelter seriously at all. Didn't you say that these 2 people have joined the Zhao family? I will kill one of them, seriously injure or cripple another one right in front of you. What can your Zhao family do? Young Master Zhao, the 2 guards beside Zhao shouted to Zhao in a low voice. Jin Ke is openly provoking the entire Zhao family. If he is not punished, where is young Master Zhao's face? Zhao's face was pale at this time. He glanced at Chen Ji's head at his feet and Li Hua who was screaming, and then looked at Fan Wenji and the other 5 standing a few meters away, but he couldn't say a single harsh word. Chapter 320 Primary School Classmates. Zhao really didn't expect that Fan Wenji, who had been extremely respectful and bowing to him before, would suddenly turn hostile at this moment. He didn't expect that the Qingtai Mountain base was so united, and the 4 elites of the base supported Jin Ke together. In this situation, if he still dared to control Jin Ke by force, he would have no choice but to fight with Fan Wenji and the other 4. Zhao was wrong to trespass into the meeting at the Qingtai Mountain base. Once a fight resulted in a death, no matter which side suffered a death, all the responsibility would be on him. No, there was complete evidence of witnesses, physical evidence, and video at the scene. Even if he was the 3rd son of the Zhao family, he could not escape the sanctions of the court. If Fan Wenji didn't intervene in this matter, Zhao could do whatever he wanted, and no one could do anything to him. Fan Wenji stood up, and Zhao had to stop. He still understood the reasoning behind this. Mr. Zhao, please don't interfere too much in the internal affairs of the Qingtai Mountain base. At the Qingtai Mountain base conference, The three of you just trespassed on the rostrum. We can regard it as a blatant attack on the Qingtai Mountain base. According to the laws of the shelter, we have the right to conduct unlimited self-defense. Fan Wenji held a long sword and bowed to Zhao. Okay, Director Fan, you have guts. I will remember you. Zhao suddenly stepped on Li Hua's neck, ending the extremely annoying scream. Thank you, Mr. Zhao, for thinking highly of me, and thank you, Mr. Zhao, for punishing the criminals for us. Fan Wenji bowed again. Let's go. Zhao snorted coldly and walked quickly to the door of the venue with two guards. I don't know if it was because he felt very embarrassed or too nervous and scared, but when Zhao stepped down from the rostrum, his feet suddenly tripped and he fell down with a bang. The two personal guards were unable to react in time, and they reached out to pull him but failed. They watched Zhao fall face first and bite the mud. There were several loud laughs in the meeting hall, which seemed to be from Liu Zhu and others. Two idiots. After Zhao got up from the ground, he angrily cursed at the two followers, and then quickly fled from the large conference hall of the ecological park. Today's face was lost. Little beast, I'll remember this account for you. In the future, there will be a time when you will kneel and cry. After Zhao left the large conference hall, he looked back with a sinister face. After what happened just now, Zhao was more certain that Jin Ke was just relying on the fireball technique that could not be used in actual combat to gain a false reputation in the tour. But his actual output is very, very low. Just now, a bunch of combos on the podium only knocked down more than 100 points of his health, which posed no threat to him at all. If there was no protection from Fan Wenji and others, Jin Ke would be alone, and Zhao believed that he could kill him in seconds. However, Zhao would not kill Jin Ke. Jin Ke was very useful to their family. What he had to do was to control Jin Ke and use various tortures to force him to reveal the secret of the rune spell. Jin Ke returned to the podium, and no one dared to question him anymore. This young man did not even give face to the Zhao family of the Green Plains shelter. He said that Li Hua and Chen Ji were already members of the Zhao family, but Jin Ke still killed them. In the end, Zhao did not even dare to fart, and the rest of them dared not to provoke Jin Ke again, and even dared not to say bad things about him behind his back. Who knows if someone with ulterior motives will leave evidence to ask Jin Ke for credit and reward. This guy is more cruel than Luo Ye. He kills when he says he will, and he does not listen to anyone and does not show any mercy. Director Jin, you'd better not leave the base recently. The people of the Zhao family are not easy to mess with, especially this Zhao, who is very narrow-minded. If he can't get your fireball spell, he might find someone to ambush you. After the meeting, Fan Wenji sighed and said a few words to Jin Ke. Thank you Director Fan for your reminder. It seems that I have caused a lot of trouble for the base. Jin Ke nodded to Fan Wenji. Fan Wenji's performance in the meeting just now made Jin Ke's favor for him increase a lot. Okay, you don't have to be discouraged about the tour. You can do what you need to do later. We have achieved our goal by entering the top 4. Even if they adjust the rules, it doesn't matter if we can't make it to the top 2 later. Fan Wenji patted Jin Ke on the shoulder. Okay. Fan Wenji looked at Jin Ke's back and left, and couldn't help but sigh a few times. As the director of the base, Fan Wenji really didn't handle this matter today. He didn't dare to offend the Zhao family, but the demands that Zhao made to Jin Ke were indeed excessive. If it were him, he might compromise for the sake of the base, but Jin Ke's character would definitely not bow to the Zhao family, and Zhao would definitely hold a grudge against Li Hua. However, the Zhao family did these two things very shamefully. If it were really brought to the surface, the Zhao family would not be in the right. So Fan Wenji was not worried that the Zhao family would punish Qingtai Mountain base or Jin Ke at the official level. He was just worried that they would do something behind the scenes to plot against Jin Ke. Now that the matter has come out, there is nothing he can do. Fan Wenji can only take out some benefits, entrust a middleman to mediate, and send some heavy gifts to see if he can find someone in the Zhao family who understands the matter and make these two things clear. After the meeting, the first thing Jin Ke did was to use his power to arrange an identity for his new face. First, give this new face a name. After thinking for a long time, Jin Ke decided to name him Shan Yao. Shan Yao was his elementary school classmate, a fat guy who looked a lot like Liu Huan. He had a very good relationship with Jin Ke and they were inseparable like brothers. They ate snacks together and wore the same clothes. Jin Ke's parents were still alive at that time. After his family moved to another school with his parents, he lost contact with Shan Yao. He chose this name as a commemoration of that brother. Although it was a bit ugly, it could help his brother to gain a reputation, which was also a compensation. With power in hand, a new student Shan Yao soon appeared in the base. The dormitory in the base was also arranged with Zhu Shu, Yu Gang, Qin Heiji, Dao Beiqing, Ni Yu, Liu Zhu, Chen Yan and others. Hello everyone, I am the new Shan Yao, please take care of me in the future. Jin Ke stopped them and introduced himself to them when they were controlling their characters to go to the restaurant. Liu Zhu's character glanced at Shan Yao, and the character's instinctive reaction was that he was frightened and almost lost control and fell to the ground. Zhu Shu's character looked at Shan Yao and bumped his head against the pillar in front of him. The other characters also had various strange reactions, as if they had a nightmare. Don't be like this. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm so ugly. I'm helpless. Jin Ke tried hard not to laugh. Sorry, that's not what I meant. We just welcome you. Zhu Shu, Yu Zhu and others hurriedly apologized to Shan Yao. Chapter 321 Natural Stone Cave. Shan Yao was ugly and had congenital defects, so he got sympathy from others. He soon became familiar with Jin Ke's friends, and his identity as a new student was naturally no longer a problem. There are new people coming to the base every month, and no one will pay special attention to Shan Yao. After solving the identity problem of the new face, Jin Ke returned to the Nightmare Castle. For now, everything in the Nightmare Castle can quickly improve his strength, so he must focus on the strategy of the Nightmare Castle. Wow, what monster! Zhang Mengdai's character was so scared when he saw Shan Yao coming over that he took 2 steps back and sat on the ground, then waved his staff. Hey, I'm the master! Jin Ke shouted and quickly took off his mask. Master? Zhang Mengdai put down his staff. No wonder the system prompt cannot attack teammates popped up just now. Is that face so scary? Jin Ke expressed his dissatisfaction. I'm not scared. My character fell down by himself. Zhang Mengdai explained to Jin Ke. Okay, but don't throw fireballs at Master. Jin Ke was still in shock. If a cute girl threw a fireball at him, he would be dead. No, I can't attack Master. There is a system prompt. Oh, that's right. Jin Ke remembered this. He knew it, so he came to scare Zhang Mengdai. But when he saw her throwing fireballs, he forgot about it again. After dinner, the two continued to explore. After the coffin was moved away, there was a passage leading down in the tomb. Jin Ke and Zhang Mengdai came to the tomb and prepared to go down through this passage to continue the adventure of the Nightmare Castle. Disciple, you go down first. Master, I will protect you from behind, Jin Ke said to Zhang Mengdai. Okay. Although Zhang Mengdai was a little surprised by Jin Ke's protection, he didn't think much about it and went down to the passage directly. There was an iron ladder installed on the stone wall of the passage. After going down 7 or 8 meters along the iron ladder, Zhang Mengdai finally got to the bottom of the passage. After shining the crystal ball on the top of the staff inside, Zhang Mengdai found that there was a large underground natural stone cave below, and no monsters were found for the time being. After Zhang Mengdai confirmed that the foothold below the passage was safe, he called out to Jin Ke and asked him to follow. Jin quickly came down from the top of the passage and joined Zhang Mengdai. Now Jin Ke had a black bow and arrow in his hand and black leather armor on his body. He was not as powerless as before, and he could only rely on Zhang Mengdai for everything. However, when exploring the stone cave, of course, Zhang Mengdai should walk in front, and it would be better for him to protect behind. The underground stone cave is very long, and the further you go, the wider it is. There are various naturally formed stone pillars inside, which look like strange rocks standing in a forest. Under the illumination of the staff, they cast very hideous shadows to the side. They didn't encounter any monsters for a long time, which made the two more and more worried, especially for this kind of underground stone cave. Once it is besieged by monsters, it will be difficult to escape. I don't know what kind of monsters there are in this underground stone cave. The plug-in could not be used after entering the depression, and it could not be used in this underground cave. Jin could not use the detection plugin to detect the monsters in the cave. Just as the two were about to enter a more open place, a fishy wind suddenly came from the front, and at the same time there were some very unpleasant screams, which felt like the screams of insect monsters. "The goblins are coming, disciple, hurry up," Jin Ke shouted. "Okay, master." Didi Mengman, Zhang Mengdai immediately condensed a fireball. Jin Ke also held a bow and arrow and was ready to attack at any time. It was said that it was too late, and a large group of black shadows flew towards the direction where the two were. This monster looked like a giant bat, with a wingspan of more than half a meter. In terms of size, this giant bat cannot be compared with the fierce rhino, but there are many of them. This group of giant bats that rushed over formed a long line, at least dozens of them. Boom! A fireball hit the direction where the giant bats were flying, and instantly killed more than a dozen bats flying in the front on the spot. At the same time, Jin Ke rolled over and shot the rune arrow in his hand towards the direction where the giant bats were flying. Unfortunately, the damage caused was very limited. Fortunately, Zhang Mengdai's fireball technique was powerful enough, one shot every 3 seconds, and quickly killed all the dozens of giant bats. The giant bats seemed to be spraying liquid attacks, and there were traces of venom on the ground. But because they were killed by Zhang Mengdai before they got close, they did not pose any threat to the two. If there was no Zhang Mengdai, and Jin Ke was facing these giant bats alone, he could only use the shadow of death and run away quickly, otherwise he would probably be sprayed with venom, add a poisoning debuff, and die here without an antidote. Jin Ke dissected a bat and dissected a poison sac from the corpse. This poison sac seemed to be the material of some kind of potion. After Jin Ke dissected dozens of poison sacs, he and Zhang Mengdai returned to the surface. Zhang Mengdai went back to her birthplace to recover her energy, while Jin Ke went to the pharmacy to sell the poison sacs. Sure enough, the pharmacy accepted these things, 1 copper coin for each poison sac. Jin Ke also went to the food store and the weapon store, but they did not accept the poison sacs, so in the end he had to sell them all to the pharmacy and earned more than 30 copper coins. The pharmacy has all kinds of potions for sale, including antidotes. If you can buy a bottle, you will be safer in the underground cave. If you are poisoned by a giant bat, you can get rid of it immediately. But the price is also unbeatable. 10 gold coins for a bottle of antidote. It's a miracle that your store has been open for so many years without closing down. Jin Ke gave the shop owner a thumbs up. The shop owner quietly watched Jin Ke pretending to be cool, without saying a word. Next, Jin Ke returned to the underground cave and continued to kill bats and sell poison sacs with Zhang Mengdai. This process was boring, but watching the copper coins increase one by one and the bats in the underground cave being cleared one by one, he still felt a little sense of accomplishment. Finally, on the second day, the two killed almost all the bats in the underground cave. Only one bat boss was left. The bat boss was hanging upside down on the top of a huge cave hall, which was dozens of meters wide and dozens of meters high. After seeing the two, it swooped down and sprayed a large amount of venom. The plugin could not be used, and Jin Ke did not know how high the health of the bat boss was. Its venom could spray more than 10 meters away, posing a great threat to Jin Ke and the others. Fortunately, Zhang Mengdai's fireball technique was powerful enough and the attack distance was far enough. Every fireball blew the bat boss back several meters, making it unable to get close to the two. However, Zhang Mengdai could only fire a dozen fireballs in total, and then the energy was exhausted. Chapter 322, Sealing Vain Spirit. The two fought and retreated. Fortunately, after the bat boss was hit by 10 fireballs, it stopped chasing the two and returned to the place where it was hanging to rest. It seems that it lost its will to fight after its health dropped to a certain value, and it needs to go back to rest. Jin Ke and Zhang Mengdai also hurried back to the ground to replenish energy, find some food, and then go down to continue fighting. While Zhang Mengdai was fighting, Jin Ke explored the hall where the bat boss was, and found a locked door, which was energy restricted and could only be opened with a specific key. It seems that if you want to continue to pass the level, you must kill this bat boss and get the key from it. 2 hours later, Jin Ke felt something was wrong. This was indeed something wrong. The health of ordinary bats is not high, and the health of this bad boss should not be very high. Judging from the 50,000 points of damage bursting from its head, its basic defense is very low, and Zhang Mengdai's fireball spell took all the 50,000 points of damage. Even if it has 5 million HP like the giant Trino, 100 fireballs can kill it because it absorbs all damage. But it has already been bombarded by Zhang Mengdai with hundreds of fireballs, and it is not hurt at all. This is unscientific. Jin came to a conclusion soon after a careful study. That is, there is something wrong with the place where the bad boss is hanging. Just like the fountain in the tour, the HP of the bad boss can be quickly restored after hanging there, so no matter how many fireballs Zhang Mengdai throws, it can restore its HP to full value during the time when the two go back to replenish energy. Jin asked Zhang Mengdai to bombard the place where the bat is hanging with fireballs, but there was no effect. If you look closely, you will find that there is a black fog looming where the bat boss is hanging. It feels like a small space-time crack there. Some energy escaping from the space-time crack can heal the bat boss. If this continues, it will be useless for him and Zhang Mengdai to work for a long time. This is definitely not okay. After returning to the courtyard again, Jin went to the pharmacy. All the phantom bottles of the potions displayed here were black and round, looking like grenades. The cheapest potion was 10 gold coins, and the more expensive ones were 20 gold coins, 50 gold coins, and 100 gold coins. There were no more expensive ones. However, the cheapest one was only sold for 1 gold coin. The one that was only sold for 1 gold coin was an empty bottle, a transparent round crystal bottle with a lid. Empty bottles are sold for 1 gold coin. It's ridiculous. Jin was powerless to complain. The other potions were all black, and they should be round empty potion bottles filled with black potions. All the potions were black, which matched the style of these stores. Black shops. One potion caught Jin's attention. The name of this potion was Feng Mei Ling. Sealing Vein Spirit. Seal the target's blood vessels, making it impossible for it to recover blood. Duration: 60 seconds. How to use: throw it at the target. It has its own power, and can automatically lock onto the target within 20 meters to launch a jet attack. Hand-thrown automatic tracking short-range missile. The things sold in Nightmare Castle are really different. Jin complained a few words. Jin thought that when the bad boss flew back to the top of the cave and hung there, he could just throw a bottle at it, and it would not be able to recover blood. At this time, Zhang Mengdai would follow up and throw a few fireballs, and it should be able to deal with it. The problem is 10 gold coins. Are you kidding me? So far, Jin has only collected less than 2 gold coins in total. How long will it take to kill monsters with 10 gold coins? Even if the energy core can be sold for another gold coin, it is far from enough for 10 gold coins. But in this situation, if he doesn't get this Sealing Vein Spirit, he feels that he can't deal with the bat boss. If you want to get the Sealing Vein Spirit, you have to go outside to earn gold coins first. It's unknown when the fierce rhinoceros outside will be resurrected, and there are also multi-headed pythons. Killing them can collect a lot of fierce rhinoceros meat and python meat, which can be exchanged for varying amounts of copper coins in the food store. That will be a very long process. Jin thought of a way to quickly get gold coins, but he was very hesitant. The way is, the black bow in his hand is worth 10 gold coins, which can be recycled at the weapon store for 2.5 gold coins. The whole set of black armor on his body is worth 30 gold coins, which can be recycled at the armor store for 7.5 gold coins. In this way, he just has 10 gold coins, which can buy a bottle of Sealing Vein Spirit. With the Sealing Vein Spirit, Zhang Mengdai may be able to kill the bad boss, get the key from the bad boss's body, and there should be a fragment of a circular sculpture. The strategy for Nightmare Castle should be able to continue. I was afraid. If I bought a bottle of Feng Mei Ling, but still failed to deal with the bad boss, then Jin would be in tears. Should I sell the black bow and armor in exchange for Feng Mei Ling? This was a very difficult decision. Jin came to the weapon shop and put the black bow on the round table, wanting to see what price the owner would buy it back. He was just trying, and had not decided to sell the black bow. The owner reached under the table and fished. It was pitch black under him and he couldn't see anything. but he still fished out a few gold coins and put them on the table, and pushed the table over here. There were actually 5 gold coins. Can the black-hearted shop owner also make mistakes? Isn't it a quarter of the price? Jin Ke soon understood what was going on. Jin Ke did not take the gold coins, but turned the round table back. Although the shopkeepers here are inhumane, silent, and unwilling to bargain, as long as Jin Ke doesn't take the gold coins, they won't take his goods privately, which is reassuring. Jin Ke took out the chip that increases the critical hit rate from the slot of the black bow and arrow, and placed it alone on the round table. Sure enough, the shopkeeper fished out 2 gold coins and 50 silver coins from under the round table and put them on the table, then pushed the table over. The value of a chip is 2.5 gold coins, and the owner of the weapon shop buys these chips. Jin Ke remembered that there were 3 chips in the armor on his body. Although these chips are also very important, and even more difficult to get than equipment, in this situation, Jin Ke wants to continue to attack the Nightmare Castle, so he can only reluctantly give them up. You can't catch the wolf without sacrificing the child. What does it mean to catch the wolf without sacrificing the child? This must not be said by people who have been parents, who threw their children away to catch the wolf. It's the shoes, right? But now Jin Ke felt like he was sacrificing his life to catch a wolf. 4 chips worth 40 gold coins in total. These unscrupulous merchants bought them back at a quarter of the price. 30 gold coins were lost in vain. Chapter 323, I will never return until I conquer Lulan. 30 gold coins. You may not be able to earn that much even if you fight wild monsters outside for several months. Although he knew it was meaningless, Jin Ke still visited every shop owner and confirmed that only the owners of the weapon shop and the armor shop would buy chips, and the purchase price was the same. In the end, Jin Ke sold 4 chips to the owner of the weapon shop and got 10 gold coins. Brother, you made a lot of money on this business. Can you get a VIP card? Can I give you a 50% discount next time I buy weapons from you? Jin Ke negotiated with the shop owner. The shop owner looked at Jin Ke quietly without saying a word. You agree by not saying anything. Next time I come here, you give me a 50% discount. Otherwise, I will complain to the Consumer Association. After Jin Ke glared at the shop owner fiercely, he turned around and left the weapon shop and walked to the pharmacy not far away. 10 gold coins for a bottle of potion. It's dark. It's really dark. No wonder these shop owners are all black fog, and even their faces can't be seen clearly, because they all run black shops. When I become an SSS level expert one day, the first thing I will do is to come over and smash all your broken shops. Damn. Jin Ke made a gesture of wiping his neck to the shop owner. The shop owner still said nothing and watched Jin Ke pretending to be cool. Although he felt distressed, he finally got the Feng Mei Ling. The long clouds of Qinghai darken the snow-capped mountains, and the lonely city looks at you and pass from afar. The yellow sand wears the golden armor after 100 battles, and I will never return until I conquer Lulan. Before leaving, Jin Ke held a swearing-in ceremony with his only apprentice Zhang Mengdai. Master can also chant, Master, you are my idol. Master, I admire you so much. Zhang Mengdai kept flattering Jin Ke in order to get more bonuses. Have you remembered both Plan A and Plan B? Jin Ke had a serious expression on his face. Remember, fill up your energy. We only have one chance. If we can't kill the bat boss, Master will be in great pain. Understand? Jin Ke told Zhang Mengdai earnestly. Whether the bat boss can be successfully hunted depends mainly on Zhang Mengdai's output. She must not fail. I will wear golden armor after 100 battles in the yellow sand. I will not return until I have conquered Lulan. Zhang Mengdai raised her staff with a sacred expression. Okay, this is the momentum we want. Let's go. Jin Ke walked ahead with a proud and arrogant look. He strode in front with a proud and arrogant look, and led Zhang Mengdai to rush towards the depression. They entered the tomb with ease, entered the underground cave, and came to the bat boss's nest after twists and turns. The bat boss, like many times before, howled and pounced on Zhang Mengdai and Jin Ke. Jin Ke carefully kept a distance of about 20 meters from the bat boss, so as not to let its venom spray on him, but also to keep it within the throwing range of the sealing vein spirit. Zhang Mengdai threw 9 fireballs at it one after another. When the 10th fireball was about to be launched, Jin Ke threw the sealing vein spirit at the bat boss. The quality of the potions produced in the evil Resident Evil is different. The thrown medicine bottle flew towards the bat boss like a missile. After flying to the bat boss, the bottle mouth opened automatically and all the potions inside were sprayed onto the bat boss. Then the empty medicine bottle fell to the ground with a clang. The black mist inside dissipated and turned into a transparent round crystal bottle. The opened bottle cap was connected to the bottle body by a crystal chain. It was obviously some kind of recyclable potion bottle, otherwise it would not be sold for 1 gold coin each. The 10th fireball hit the bat boss. Just like before, the bat boss turned around and fled after being hit by 10 fireballs. It fled back to the black fog on the top of the cave hall and hung upside down. This is the moment to decide whether we can succeed. 1 minute, kill it. Jin gave an order, and Zhang Mengdai rushed over, and 5 more fireballs hit the bat boss on the top of the cave hall. The scene that Jin imagined of the bat boss's body falling did not happen. The bat boss was still hanging there. Moreover, it was still moving, and it looked like nothing had happened. Plan A failed. Implement Plan B immediately, Jin shouted. Okay. Zhang Mengdai turned around and ran towards the direction of the stone cave. Plan B was that Zhang Mengdai quickly ran back to the birthplace, and after being full of energy, he came back to continue killing the bat boss on the top of the cave hall. While the bat boss on the top of the cave hall was hanging there without moving, Jin quickly picked up the empty medicine bottle from the ground. Although it was an empty medicine bottle, it was also worth a gold coin. If the shopkeeper takes it back, there should be 25 silver coins, right? Zhang Mengdai ran back to his birthplace to recharge, and then ran to the underground cave, which took a total of 5 minutes and 10 seconds. When Zhang Mengdai ran back, the bat boss had already recovered its health, flew down from the top of the cave hall, and screamed to attack the two. Zhang Mengdai used 10 fireballs to blast it back to the top of the cave hall and hung it, but Jin no longer had the sealing vein spirit. Zhang Mengdai blasted 5 more fireballs. The bat boss was still alive. I miscalculated. My sealing vein spirit, my 10 gold coins, my 4 chips. Master is going to die. You must not stop him. Jin beat his feet and stamped his chest, heartbroken. Okay, listen to Master. I will definitely not stop him. Zhang Mengdai replied to Jin. It seems that 1 bottle of sealing vein spirit can't handle it. The cute girl ran back to her birthplace to recharge, and then ran to the underground cave. It took more than 5 minutes in total. It seems that I need at least 6 bottles or even more bottles of sealing vein spirit to handle it. Jin looked at the bat boss on the top of the cave hall more than 10 meters above his head and thought, what if he needs 10 bottles? Wouldn't he have to collect 100 gold coins? This nightmare castle really makes people love and hate it. Here Jin learned the extremely powerful fireball technique, which is currently useless in actual combat. Here Jin learned the lightning technique, which is also relatively powerful and has some use in actual combat. Here Jin met Wenrenfian, successfully split his soul without potion, and opened up the archer profession. Here Jin got a black bow and arrow and a set of black leather armor, and even 4 chips. However, he is now stuck here with the bat boss and can no longer move forward, because he couldn't detect the health of the bat boss. He couldn't tell how many bottles of sealing vein spirit were needed to deal with it. If he collected 100 gold coins and still couldn't deal with it, wouldn't he be even more vomiting blood? And judging by the number of wild monsters outside, it would probably take a year to collect 100 gold coins, right? If a year was wasted, Jin felt that he didn't need to play this game anymore. It seemed that he had to give up the strategy for Nightmare Castle. Next, let Zhang Mengdai continue to hunt wild monsters here for gold coins. One day when she collected 100 gold coins, he would come over and try to see if he could kill this extremely annoying bad boss and continue the strategy for Nightmare Castle. Chapter 324 Calculation. On the way back, Jin was dejected, just like playing an online game and working hard to level up an account. But then someone hacked his account and stripped him of all his magic equipment. 10 gold coins, just gone. These 10 gold coins were exchanged for 4 chips. If I had known earlier, I would have exchanged these 10 gold coins for a black-clad dagger instead of that bottle of crappy sealing vein spirit. Back in the courtyard, into the pharmacy, Jin Ke took out the empty bottle to see if he could get 25 silver coins back, at least to recover some of his losses. Just as Jin Ke put the empty bottle on the round table, he suddenly discovered something. Jin Ke quickly took the empty bottle back. There was something in the bottle. It was some runes. The runes attached to the inner wall of the bottle. The strokes had become very faint, and were still fading. Jin Ke quickly put his eyes close to the mouth of the bottle, and then took a screenshot of the runes on the inner wall of the bottle with the virtual phone in his field of vision. Soon after taking the screenshot, all the runes on the inner bottle wall disappeared. Fortunately, the virtual phone took screenshots of all the runes in time. There are 4 rows and 4 columns, a total of 16 runes. What do these 16 runes mean? In order to figure out what these 16 runes mean, Jin Ke went to the charging device and tried to condense these runes one by one. Each rune requires 1000 energy points, and 16 runes require a total of 16,000 energy points. Jin Ke gave up after trying for a while. It took him time to practice and become proficient in condensing these new energy runes. Now he didn't want to wait that long, so he let Zhang Mengdai condense these 16 runes. Zhang Mengdai didn't let Jin Ke down, and condensed these 16 runes in a short while. After you condense them, arrange these runes in this order. Jin Ke sent the picture he just cut to Zhang Mengdai using the virtual phone. Okay. Zhang Mengdai condensed 16 runes again, and then arranged them in the order shown by Jin Ke. After being arranged, the 16 runes automatically merged together and turned into a ball of extremely thick black mist, and finally turned into a drop of liquid suspended in front of Zhang Mengdai. Jin Ke quickly put the drop of liquid into the empty potion bottle and then covered the bottle cap. A few seconds later, the entire potion bottle turned black and looked exactly the same as the previously unused Sealing Veins Spirit. After holding it, the plugin identified the name of this thing. Sealing Veins Spirit, imitation, seals the target's blood vessels, preventing them from recovering blood. Duration: 60 seconds. How to use: throw it at the target. With its own power, it can automatically lock onto the target and spray within 20 meters. Note: because it is a knockoff made of non-normal energy as raw material, it cannot be sold. Damn, success. This potion can be made by yourself with an empty bottle. Jin Ke shouted excitedly, as if he had won the lottery. Although it is a knockoff, the function is exactly the same. Does this mean that if you buy a bottle of medicine from a pharmacy, you can make your own imitations? All you need to do is take a screenshot of the runes that have not dissipated after using them. A bottle of Sealing Vein Spirit is definitely not enough to defeat the Bat Boss, but now that you can make your own Sealing Vein Spirit, Jin Ke has the confidence to continue conquering Resident Evil. First, you have to buy a few more empty bottles. Jin Ke tried it, and even if Zhang Mengdai condensed the liquid of Sealing Vein Spirit, she couldn't throw it out like a fireball to attack the target. If she didn't put it into the potion bottle in time, it would dissipate in a few seconds. No wonder empty bottles are sold here, and only 1 gold coin can be bought. Before buying the empty bottle, Jin Ke still put the Sealing Vein Spirit, imitation, on the round table, wanting to see if it could be sold for money. If it could be sold for money, it would be a good way to earn gold coins. The owner did reach under the round table to fish it out. A total of 25 silver coins were fished out. Isn't this the money for recycling empty bottles? It seems impossible to make gold coins by making potions by yourself. You can only buy empty bottles and copy the Sealing Vein Spirit yourself. Jin Ke found a gold coin in the poop of the giant fierce rhino. In addition, hunting the giant fierce rhino also got an energy core, which can be exchanged for 1 gold coin and 86 copper coins. If the energy core from the Green Moss Mountain can be brought over, it can be exchanged for a lot of gold coins here. Then take the black weapons, armor, and various god-level potions here to the Green Plains shelter and sell them for a high price. If you resell them on both sides, you will make a fortune soon. Unfortunately, the energy core cannot be brought over. Now Jin Ke has only 2 gold coins and can only buy 2 empty potion bottles. A total of 3 bottles of Sealing Vein Spirit, imitation, can be produced. Jin Ke squatted on the ground and calculated for a long time using the mathematics taught by the physical education teacher. Zhang Mengdai's 15 fireballs caused a total of 750,000 damage. The Bat Boss can recover full health in about 4 minutes at the top of the hole. This means that the efficiency of the Bat Boss recovering health at the top of the hole is 187,500 per minute. It takes about 5 minutes and 10 seconds for Zhang Mengdai to run back to the birthplace to refill his energy and then run back to the Bat Boss. Assume that the Bat Boss has a total of X health points. After Zhang Mengdai's 15 fireball attacks, the Bat Boss only has X 750,000 health points left. 3 bottles of Feng Mei Ling, imitation, can prevent the Bat Boss from recovering health for a total of 3 minutes. When Zhang Mengdai returns to the Bat Boss after 5 minutes and 10 seconds, the Bat Boss has recovered a total of 2 minutes and 10 seconds of health. Once again, he throws 15 fireballs, and each fireball lasts for 3 seconds, which takes a total of 45 seconds. This is equivalent to the Bat Boss recovering a total of 3 minutes of health, which is 187,500 times 3, which is about 560,000 health points. 750,000 health points minus 560,000 health points equals 190,000 health points. 190,000 health points is equivalent to the health points that the Bat Boss has not recovered in time after Zhang Mengdai rushed back. If the remaining HP of the Bat Boss is less than 750,000, that is, if the HPX value of the Bat Boss is less than 940,000, then Zhang Mengdai can finish the Bat Boss with another round of 15 fireballs. But if the HPX value of the Bat Boss is greater than 940,000, 3 bottles of Feng Mei Ling, imitation, will not be enough. For every 187,500 that the total HP value X of the Bat Boss is more than 940,000, Jin Ke will have to prepare 1 more bottle of Feng Mei Ling, imitation, which also means that he has to save 1 more gold coin to buy an empty potion bottle. Jin Ke feels that the total HP value of the Bat Boss is likely to be set to an integer of 1 million. This means that he needs 4 bottles of Feng Mei Ling, imitation. Unfortunately, he only has 3 bottles of Feng Mei Ling, imitation, in his hand. Unless the total HP value of the Bat Boss is less than 940,000, he may be able to use 3 bottles of Feng Mei Ling, imitation, to deal with it. After the calculation, things become simple. You don't need 100 gold coins to defeat the Bat Boss. Even if you can't do it this time, you can definitely do it if you accumulate a few more gold coins. Chapter 325 Blue Sky, White Clouds, Green Grassland. I wouldn't have to go to the pharmacy to buy Feng Mei Ling and fail to get it done, resulting in a total loss. I wouldn't have to work hard for a year without any results. Why don't I become a top student? I have the potential to be a top student. Jin laughed triumphantly. Master, are you sure you don't have schizophrenia? Zhang Mengdai looked worried. Wearing golden armor after 100 battles in the yellow sand? Jin Ke yelled at Zhang Mengdai. I won't return until I conquer Lulan. Zhang Mengdai raised his little fist. Let's go. Get rid of that damn Bat Boss. We have to use wisdom and strength to capture the Nightmare Castle. Jin Ke rushed out of the door first. After rushing out of the courtyard, Jin Ke ran back. What's wrong, Master? Zhang Mengdai was a little stunned. Isn't it I won't return until I conquer Lulan? You go ahead, I'll protect you from behind. Jin Ke smelled the fishy wind in the air, which seemed to be the breath of a multi-headed python. Sure enough, a multi-headed python suddenly appeared beside the 2 of them. Jin Ke pulled Zhang Mengdai away in time, and then Zhang Mengdai used 2 fireballs to kill it. In order to ensure that the plan to hunt the Bat Boss would not be disturbed, Jin Ke took Zhang Mengdai back to the birthplace to recharge, and then headed to the depression again. The fierce rhinoceros in the depression did not refresh, and the 2 went straight into the tomb passage and went down to the underground cave. Unexpectedly, some ordinary giant bats had refreshed. The 2 had to spend some time to eliminate all the ordinary giant bats, return to the birthplace to recharge their energy, and then come to the underground cave again. Finally, They met the bat boss again. The top student Jin Ke had calculated all the possibilities. There was no need to talk nonsense when meeting. Just go. When the 10th fireball was thrown out, Jin Ke's first bottle of sealing vein spirit, imitation, was also thrown out. Zhang Mengdai threw out 10 more fireballs, then turned around and ran wildly towards the birthplace. Jin Ke stood right below the bat boss, and threw 2 more bottles of sealing veins spirit, imitation, at it. Watching the time, after more than 5 minutes and 10 seconds, Zhang Mengdai ran over from the birthplace, not caring that the character was still breathing, and threw fireballs one after another at the bat boss on the top of the cave hall. When the 14th fireball was thrown, the bat boss was still hanging motionlessly on the top of the cave hall. Jin Ke's heart sank. It seemed that the HP of this bat boss might be set to 1 million. He had to earn another gold coin. When the 15th fireball was thrown, a very surprising scene happened. The bat boss's body fell straight down from the top of the cave hall as if it had lost control, and fell to the ground of the stone cave. For safety reasons, Jin Ke used rolling assault to attack it with rune arrows several times in a row. The bat boss did not move at all. Disciple, Master has killed it. Go and have a look. Jin Ke put away his bow and arrow and said to Zhang Mengdai, Master is really amazing. Zhang Mengdai hurried over to have a look. Finding that the bat boss did not return to attack Zhang Mengdai, Jin Ke went over to check the bat boss's body again, confirming that the bat boss was indeed dead. He roared a few times in great ecstasy. I was almost stuck here and couldn't go on. It feels so good to use wisdom to conquer the game. Next, of course, the bat boss was dissected. As expected by Jin Ke, there was indeed a fragment of a circular sculpture in the bat boss's body. There was also a key and a large poison sac. There was no energy core. That's all. I wasted 4 chips and killed a lot of my brain cells. Can you at least compensate me with an energy core? The input-output ratio is too disproportionate, right? Jin Ke was a little disappointed. Is this circular sculpture fragment so delicious? Is it made of gbuli steamed buns? Why does every boss eat a piece? Jin complained while holding another circular sculpture fragment. Boss, can I get off work now? Zhang Mengdai yawned in front of the mobile phone screen. Working overtime every day and having to think of all kinds of ways to flatter the boss without leaving any trace is really tiring. Jin Ke then noticed that it was already 1 o'clock in the morning. When you were particularly involved in playing games, you always forget the time. Disciple, you have worked hard. Master has decided to give you 200 yuan in overtime pay. Jin Ke was a little apologetic to Zhang Mengdai. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's not hard if you can get money. Master, let's work overtime tomorrow? Zhang Mengdai was very happy when she heard that there was overtime pay. Let's go back to the birthplace and you can go offline and rest. Okay. After returning to the birthplace, Zhang Mengdai controlled her character and fell asleep on the sofa. Jin Ke took the poison sac to the pharmacy to see how many copper coins the thing dropped by the bad boss could be exchanged for. What surprised Jin Ke was that the shopkeeper actually took out 50 silver coins to buy this poison sac, half a gold coin. Finally, I felt a little psychologically comforted. After returning to his birthplace, Jin closed the door, lay on the teleportation platform and was sent back to dormitory 18 of the Moss Mountain base. Then he quit the game and went to sleep. Sleeping in the nightmare castle will cause nightmares. Jin Ke has a psychological shadow when he dreams of the aging and resentful Zhang Mengdai. Therefore, it is safer to let the character stay in dormitory 18. There are training facilities in dormitory 18, and you can also use plugins to help train basic attributes. Forget it today. The character is too tired. The next day, the master and apprentice continued to attack the nightmare castle. After opening the secret door in the cave hall of the bat boss in the underground stone cave, Zhang Mengdai pushed open the secret door under Jin Ke's protection. Unexpectedly, when the secret door was opened, there was blue sky, white clouds and green grass outside, surrounded by towering mountains. This is a very flat depression in the mountains. Jin Ke, who is in the game world, feels that everything is as real as the real world. Pure natural scenery without human pollution is hard to see in the real world. However, it can be concluded that this piece of blue sky, White clouds and green grass is definitely not in the real world, because there are very few packs of wolves in the real world. There are some deep pits all over the green grass, about 3 or 4 meters long and wide, which can be seen from a long distance. I wonder if when Renfian dug here before, disciple, Didi Mengmengda, as soon as Jin Ke shouted, Zhang Mengdai understood and threw a fireball at the wolf pack more than 100 meters away. A wolf king with a body of 2 meters tall and very burly, surrounded by 6 wild wolves about 1 meter tall. Although it appeared more than 100 meters away, it was already very conspicuous among the blue sky, white clouds and green grass. This kind of ordinary wild wolf is a very ferocious creature in the real world, much more powerful than lions and tigers in the real world. Unfortunately, the wolf pack is immune to spell attacks. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.